The Blades Ramble is proudly sponsored by My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. Contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk for more information or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is a stream that nobody wanted to be doing, but we're here because we're here for the fans of United. We are all fans of United, and a lot of us, the vast majority of us, are huge fans of Chris Wilder. It's just been announced on the club website, well, via X, that a lot of people have seen it, I think. I'm going to see if I can get a link up now for the club's statement, if you like, if that's what we're going with, that Chris Wilder has been relieved of his duties as Sheffield United manager. I don't think I can see it on the club website, actually. So let's see if I can find it on X. Something about Ben Fogel on the website, but nothing about our greatest ever manager. So let's see what's being said. Apologies, I wasn't ready for this. I've been scrambling to obviously get this stream together. So club statement. Here we go. The Sheffield United can confirm a mutually agreed decision has been reached for Chris Wilder to leave the football club. Do you know what? Before I carry on, I'm not gonna break down on stream or anything like that. But I have been so matter of fact about this leading up to it. Obviously, we got news a little bit early and went with it and got criticised for it, and that's not why I'm bringing this point up. But all the way through, we've been talking about it. It's been right, sensible approach. Let's just think about how we are going to talk about this, how we are going to get this message across. Let's try and keep people together on it because it's such an emotive subject that people can go off in all different directions. And to do that, I've had to try and keep a sensible head on, and I've tried not to think about it too in depth, really. And I haven't. It's shaken me this a little bit, seeing it in black and white, and that's just how it is. Everybody knows how I feel about him as a manager. I try and elaborate sometimes on how that's affected me personally, and other people will be in this boat as well. This man, Chris Wilder, has pulled me and others out of some really low positions just by doing his job. I understand that, and he's not done it, with that intention. But either way, he has had that effect on me and many others. So to read this, that I think it is likely his last ever time. As I know he's been back once before, I'll be amazed if he returns again. Not that I would be against it. Chris will leave alongside coaches Alan Nill and Matt Prestridge, and in doing so will depart with the best wishes and gratitude of everyone connected with Sheffield United. A Blade through and through, the legacy Chris and his staff have created here will never be forgotten, going right back to 2016 when he initially took the job with a club rooted in League One. Between 2016 and 2021, he guided the club to 2 promotions and a 9th place finish in the Premier League, creating an era which will go down as one of the most fondly remembered in the club's history. After returning to the club during a difficult period in 2023, he's provided stability and created a new team, which earned a Steel City derby double, amongst other notable highlights last season. Showing his calibre as manager, he guided the club to a 3rd place finish, collecting 92 points, before a heartbreaking conclusion in the playoff final. Our owners, COH Sports, would wish to place on record our thanks to Chris and his staff for their efforts whilst at the helm, and will be extending their own appreciation in due course. And that is the statement we've had. And that's the only place I've really looked for it, to be fair, is on X. It's a statement that's, in my initial thoughts are, it's a statement that's worthy of everything Chris Wilder's done for us. It immediately highlights why we're getting rid of this man. So they have rightly given him his flowers, which he more than deserves. And all the fans will continue to do that and should do that. But they're aware of how important he is to us. They're aware of what he means to us. And that does not guarantee success going forward. And I'm just sort of, you've seen me on stream like this before if you've been here a while. I'm just speaking and trying to gather my thoughts as we talk about it. So, I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. I'm not saying that I won't back Ruben Selles, because I certainly will. He's not been confirmed yet, by the way. This is just a thank you to Chris Wilder and a confirmation that he now departs as manager. But it's a sad day. It's a sad day for Sheffield United. And it feels like there's a little bit of me that feels like it's a bit of an injustice. And that's just me being completely honest about how I feel about it. By the same token, as it being an injustice, it doesn't mean I think it's the wrong decision. I do happen to think that. But in terms of, I can certainly see the merit in making a change. I can always make that argument in any scenario, because that's what we have to try and do. We have to play devil's advocate sometimes on the channel. We have to balance other views. And that's what I love about our community, is there'll be some in the comments saying tonight, ridiculous decision, how can we possibly do this? And there'll be others saying, there'll be extreme views saying about time he's a dinosaur or whatever it might be, but the more sensible but differing opinions will say, I think it's time for a change. I think the club needs a change of structure to move on and move forward. So it's a real sort of head mash a little bit, particularly for someone who is an admitted Wilder fanboy, and self-confessed, paid-up member of the Wilder fan club. Love him and what he's done for our club. Will never, and I never expect again to feel the way I felt in that first period that he was in charge of us. The team that he put together, the way that he led us as a club, pieced us back together again, was incredible. We have been spoilt with him at the helm, undoubtedly spoilt with him at the helm, and that will not be replicated in any appointment we could possibly make. We could appoint the most successful manager in our history in terms of what we do on the pitch going forward, and some of us will not enjoy it as much as we have done under Chris Wilder. That doesn't mean we would have continued to enjoy it under Chris Wilder. So there are all sorts of different contexts to lay down here. Just because I have loved Chris Wilder's time with us at the club doesn't mean it's the wrong decision to make a change. I think he deserved more time. I think when you look at some of the accomplishments that they have not only highlighted in terms of his history with us, but just last season, after returning to the club during a difficult period in 2023, he's provided stability and created a new team, which earned a Steel City Derby double, amongst other notable highlights last season. Showing his calibre as a manager, he guided the club to a third-place finish, collecting 92 points before a heartbreaking conclusion in the playoff final. They've said it, haven't they? They've said exactly what a lot of us are thinking. Crazy. I'm doing this tonight, 90 after 90 style. And the reason we're doing that is a couple of reasons. Firstly, I miss that style of content on the channel, and it's one of my favourite things to do during the season. So if you're not familiar with it, because we've had a lot of new subscribers, and I thank everybody that's joined us recently, it will be me talking rubbish for most of the stream, as I tend to do. I'll be reading the comments as and when I can, but in and around that, we'll scatter in some callers, and we'll take, and it's a Platinum Rambler privilege that they have, that they are able to call in and have a chat and air their views, and no more appropriate time than now to do that. I'm just going to, before I take our first call, I'm going to jump into some comments, because I'm anticipating a lot of people will rightly have a lot to say about this, one way or the other. Nick says, evening Jimmy and the Ramblers, think it could be a mistake to sack Wilder, but it's done now, so we have to look forward and hope whoever takes over can do the biz. Yeah, I agree, mate. Jared says, even though we knew it was coming, it still feels like a gut punch reading that. These owners have to gain some trust back with the fans. I think big signings, director of football appointed, etc. Yeah, it does feel like a bit of a gut punch reading it. I don't. In terms of gaining some trust back, I think it's got to be a wait and see approach, hasn't it, Jared? It's got to be, let it play out. I don't think it's a. I said the other night on stream, I don't think it's a trust the process mentality, because we don't know what the process is. We don't know anything about the ownership, but I think it's a let it play out scenario and see what happens. Marco says official is now gone. Totally disgusting decision. End of an era, says Tom, in so many ways. Nige says we knew it was going to happen. My opinion, he deserved another crack at it, but we've got to move on now. Hope Ruben gets his targets in and we progress. Keep up the good work, Jimmy. Thank you, pal. Appreciate that. Matthew says thank you doesn't feel like enough. Let's be honest, we were awful pre-Wilder. He saved us, gave me the best times I've had as a blade. Never be another like him. Wouldn't surprise me, though, to see him back one day for round 3. It would now. It would me. I thought when he left the first time, even though it was in less amicable circumstances, I always felt there were a chance he'd pop up again. I don't feel it this time. I think this is it. I think this is a door closed. End of an era, says Toddy. I feel like I've lost a family member. Gut it. Look, Matt, he's not passed, has he? Thank the Lord. He's not no longer with us. He's just no longer a part of the furniture at Bramall Lane and no longer our leader and somebody we all followed. And some others will laugh at that. Others will laugh at it. But, we are Sheffield United FC. We are not Chris Wilder FC. He would never claim that would be the case. And don't be surprised if he takes a little break from management to turn your head to the side at one of the games and have Chrissy Wilder chanting along with you, because he's a blade. He's ultimately one of us, and that's what made him so special. We will never have another Chris Wilder, because we may well appoint another blade, and I can guarantee you he will not be as successful as Chrissy Wilder. Guarantee it. And we may appoint a more successful manager. Hopefully that's Ruben Selles. Hopefully he goes on to finish higher than 9th in the Premier League consistently. But we may not ever feel the same as we do about Chris Wilder. A message from Chris Wilder now. Oh, right. So this has come from Chrissy Wilder to the Sheffield United fans that the club have just released on X. A message from Chris Wilder. It is with great regret that my time at Sheffield United has come to an end. I'd like to thank Stephen Bettis and Prince Abdullah for bringing me back to the club and giving me an opportunity. I've got goosebumps. And it's, some people might laugh at this, but I don't care. I'd like to thank Stephen Bettis and Prince Abdullah for bringing me back to the club and giving me the opportunity to rebuild the team and take this great club forward. I'd also like to thank the staff at the club, everyone behind the scenes that you don't often see, and of course the players who put in a monumental effort last season. It's been a pleasure working with you. Your desire and commitment was unquestionable, and I have no doubt you will have great success in the future. To the fans, I'm obviously disappointed to be leaving, particularly because we were so close getting back to the Premier League. I'm a Sheffielder through and through. I love this club and this city, and that feeling will never change. I depart with some cherished memories and feel proud to be talked about in the same manner that special United managers are remembered. I feel proud to be talked about in the same manner that special Sheffield United managers are remembered. Leading this team over 300 times will remain an incredible part of my life. This is a heartfelt thank you for all your support. Lastly, I'd like to wish Stephen Rosen, Helmi Atuki and the board all the very best moving forward. Up the Blades. Oh my goodness me. Tough read that. Tough read. Okay. Being speechless on stream is not the best. We've over 1,000 people here. We've got loads of people patiently waiting to come on. So I am not going to delay it any further. I'm going to start speaking to people. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here, for talking about our man. I'm going to firstly bring in somebody who I was supposed to be on stream with tonight. So I apologise to him for immediately pulling the rug out, but he did know the crack, and he's well on board, and I'm glad he's here with me, and he's welcome to stay with me throughout the stream if he wishes. He's Dave the Nose.
Dave the Nose, he really knows where the wind, I know whispers blow. Smelly breath, he's in the know. Dave the Nose,
Davey boy, how are you, mate?
Don't feel like dancing, so I'm not going to dance along to it.
No, I don't feel like dancing, as the Scissor Sisters say. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've got a little bit of a... Might not surprise you that I can be a little bit of a sensitive and sentimental person at times.
Yeah, not wrong with that, by the way.
Echoing what you said about 2016 onwards, and the club is a completely different club to what it was when he took over, and we wouldn't even be, thinking about, promotion and to the Premier League again without him. For me, the one, without going on too much, because I don't want to repeat what you've said and what Paul said over the last few streams, but at least this time he walks out the door with his head held high. 92 points won, playoff final, so close to doing it. And fans all I remember when he went the first time, majority of us were all not wanting him to go, even though we were in the predicament we were in. But it didn't end the way anybody wanted it. And whilst it's not really this time, at least it's not down to anything he's done.
He couldn't have done any more. He couldn't have done any more.
He'll I think when the pain of it starts to settle in him, and that'll probably take some time, and when he's able to sit there with a Peroni in his hand and reflect, I think he'll be proud of what he's done, and he'll think, I've gone out not on his terms, but he's gone out rather than mid-season with us maybe faltering. And because it's not working, he's gone out with people going, can't understand it.
He's left through the front door, hasn't he, mate? Like he always wanted to do. He spoke about it in his first stint with United. He always talked about, we've walked in through the front door, we're going to walk out the front door. And the reason a lot of people were disappointed with his departure, that none of us, or very few of us, is probably the best way to put it, are fully aware of what went on in the first stint. A lot of people hear one side of things, or make their own minds up and put two and two together, and sometimes come up with five. Very few of us actually know what went on, me included, in terms of, I've heard both sides of the story and I still don't know which is true. So we don't know how that ended, but a lot of people look back at that time as if he didn't walk out through the front door when he left. He went through the back door, which was disappointing because of his character and the regard that we all held him in at the time. So to some, that was part of slightly unforgivable at the time. And he did face some reluctance when he was initially brought back in. Not massively. It was blown out of proportion, I truly believe, by a vocal minority, but there was some resistance to him coming back. And he did feel, or it did feel to me, like he was putting the work in to win back the fans' trust. That was definitely in the back of his mind, that he wanted to show them that he wishes the first time didn't end the way it did, and he wants to do everything he can to put it right. He famously, at the end of the really disappointing Premier League campaign, famously said, this team is not good enough. We've got players that aren't putting in a shift for Sheffield United, and I promise you, and I promise those punters, that they will not be leaving early again next season. We will not have a team out on that pitch that doesn't give everything for this shirt. And whether we think they were good enough, whether we think as individuals, because certainly the majority of players were, whether we question any of his tactical decisions during either in-game or team selections, whether we like his outbursts in the, on the touchline at times, and the rucks that have been caused by the players, and maybe a lean towards a lack of discipline. What you cannot say is that the team haven't given everything for the shirt and they are committed to the cause. And he has led that mentality, and that he has put pride back into our football club after a devastating couple of seasons in the Premier League. I know there was a season in between, but we have had 2 seasons, but we have had 2 terrible Premier League campaigns that could have sent the club into a bit of a spiral because of how poor we were. And he has rebuilt us in his own image a little bit, and that is a Sheffield United side. And this time he leaves, and you've nailed it, with his head held high. That's a message I sent to someone very close to him. about that's how he this time had held high and no regrets, no like there's nothing else he could have done personally. I think if you'd have said to any owner in this league, whether it's the Leeds ownership, the Burnley, the Sheffield United ownership, we are going to get 92 points this season. Are you taking it or leaving it? And any fan of any club in this league, by the way, as well, they snap your hand off, they take it, and they certainly don't sack you at the end of the season. Well, our club has chosen to go in a different direction, and it's daunting, and it's it's scary to a lot of us in terms of it's a huge risk, but it's also very brave. And I think we have to see how it plays out. Again, we're not saying trust the process. We don't know what the process is, and they're not proven. Unfortunately, we can't. There's no blueprint to how they've done this before, but it is certainly groundbreaking in terms of sacking such a successful manager. And it's now that it's happened, even though we've known for a week it's going to happen, it feels it's hit me harder than initially hearing it. So yeah, I'm just sad.
Same as last time. We knew it was coming, but somehow when the announcement came out, it was because you're whether you think he's the right man or don't think he's the right man. I think most people have or nearly everybody will have not been looking forward to seeing in black and white that this announcement and then the upcoming one, which will no doubt be tomorrow, I guess.
The presser for the new manager is what we're talking about.
So I think it hits people like anything until it's final and it's in print. There's something in the human psyche that kicks in at that point, and good or bad, and that's when I guess the emotion of it kind of takes over for a little bit. I mean, I could sit here and I could give you probably nearly as many reasons to change as to not change. And I could give you who I'd go for and who I wouldn't go for and what I think we should do and what I don't think we should do. In this moment, it somehow doesn't necessarily feel like it's the right time to do that. I think it's a time for sort of saying, like him or dislike him, good idea or bad idea. Sheffield United are in the position that we are in now because of what that man brought back into the club in 2016 and what he built. And we should every Unitedite should thank him for what he's done. And he'll be remembered in the way that Dave Bassett is forever.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said. And the one thing I will say is I don't think, and I don't mean speak out of turn, and we will focus tonight on what he's done, I think. And some people might want to drift that off into whether it's the right decision or not, and that's completely their prerogative. The one thing I will say, though, is before I were told on when did we go live, Dave? Did I go live Thursday morning? Was it something like that? It's certainly, I think it was Thursday morning. And then Jungle Drums started and everything sort of started to catch fire a little bit. It wasn't from the Ramble, obviously, but we were the first. So, but before that, about a week prior, we went to the Rainbow. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I just want to give you in terms of your intuition and let people know how sort of switched on you are. Really, I think it's incredible to think back. We about a week before, me, you, and Jord Motson went to the Rainbow Blades and the 5th anniversary ball, which was a great event, by the way. Thank you to Action Coach for having us, and thank you to Rainbow Blades for having us, and congratulations again to them. Really good do. We obviously spoke to, it was just in the wake of, it was still quite raw as to what had happened from Wembley. We knew that Wilder had just sort of was about to go away with his family and sort of collect his thoughts basically and try and come back stronger. And we spoke to a couple of people there who I won't name, but we spoke to people very close to the club. And coming out of that event, having spoken to those people, it was generally sort of, the vibe was, he's absolutely devastated, as is everybody at the club. But knowing him as we do, he'll dust himself down and he'll go again. So that's what I took from those conversations with those people. We came out of that event and you said to me, and I think to Jord as well, I think he might be in trouble here. I think they might make a change. You'd picked up on that just from the vibe around the camp, and that wasn't what people were saying to us. Nobody said he's going or anything like that. Nothing was said in that, even in that context, because I hadn't picked up on any of that. But you were that intuitive about how the conversation had steered and how the feeling was. I'm amazed, and you know, fair play to you, mate. I just wanted to give you that sort of kudos, really, because you knew something weren't right. You knew it didn't. It just didn't smell right, did it? To Dave the Nose, something did not smell right.
I think I've tried to allude to it and make a couple of points in the chat that sometimes with change, it's not necessarily about looking back. It's sometimes about looking forward. And the feeling I got that night with him saying how he was and how everybody within the club was thinking, can he find the strength himself quick enough to be ready to go again, and then get those around him feeling like they can go again?
So who motivates the motivator initially, and then can he go? Can he maintain that status as the leader?
Yeah.
If he's slightly broken himself from what's happened. Yeah, incredible.
It's because, and without going dragging up all the feelings again, but there was something about that, the lead up to that game, that it felt different. And we went into the game, we go 2-0 up for those few minutes, and we're all looking at each other like, what is this? This is not what happens to Sheffield United at a playoff final.
Not afraid to admit we're in tears, are we?
Oh, look, I mean those was it 2 or 3 minutes? 2 or 3 of the best minutes alongside children's activities and getting married to Mrs. Leary.
Yes, yeah.
But they're up there as the highest of highs that I don't think I can. You know, we won League One and saw them lift the trophy. But those 3 minutes felt, from a footballing perspective, from a Sheffield United perspective, the highest high I've ever experienced in my life. And then the way it went, the way it ended, and for him as manager and as a fan, so having both sides of it to take into consideration, you can totally appreciate why he might have been absolutely flattened by it.
Yeah.
And nobody should underestimate the task of picking himself up. Forget everybody else, but just picking himself up and going, the effort that it took, you know, the rebuild that he did last summer, the ups and downs of the season, the feeling of maybe we threw it away a little bit from the position we were in, keeping it going and kind of probably waking up and thinking, how do I
go again?
How do I go again? And maybe that's been a factor in it. We don't know, because nobody's spoken to him other than his family and, you know, his mates he's been out with. And they may say, yeah, he was bang up for it, and we may be totally off track. But to be
honest, I've heard the word described to me was he's devastated.
Yeah,
and I can believe it. I can believe it. Mate, do you think he has a break? Before I go on to the next comments, last one I'll ask you, but do you think he has a bit of a break now because of that, the weight that's been on his shoulders?
He should. For me, I think he should. He should take some time to. I've been through redundancy a couple of times in my career, and I think there's a period of just finding your confidence again, and finding that little bit of, that he's got to go and get it. And then he needs the right opportunity with the right club that he can go and, if he fancies it, I think Paul said it the other day, that he'll want to prove a point. It's in his nature, and
Yes,
it'll help ignite that fire in him. I'd like to see him go and find a club where he can show what he's about, because we all want him to do well. We don't want him to beat us, obviously, but we want him to.
If Blades finish top and Chris Wilder's next club finish second, we'll all be buzzing, won't we? So,
right, look, if Chris Wilder's club come first and we're promoted second, then I won't be too upset about it.
No, me neither. Me neither. So, yes, mate. Well, thank you for being so open and raw to start us off. It's up to you.
I'll hang about.
I'd be delighted if you wanted to stay. I might struggle myself, to be honest, tonight. So just jump in some next comments and then I'll get to my next callers. Brett says, who's waiting in the wings, I can see you, pal. But you are one of the last up, pal. I'll just give you that warning straight away, because I'm going to go in order as to who got on first, and Lewis is first up. I'm not crying, you're crying, he says. End of an era. Hope this massive risk pays off. All the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe on YouTube, people. Yeah, thank you, mate. Lee Edridge, huge Wilder fan, but bigger Sheffield United fan, like a lot of us. The club would like to place on record their appreciation. Strange way to show appreciation. Well done, Chris. Here's your P45. Yeah, it's disappointing, mate. But I mean, I don't think they can do right for doing wrong when they release a statement like that, to be honest, Lee. I get what you're saying. It is cold, but there's no other way of doing it, really. They have listed. I think what they've done is, and I don't mind this, they've chosen to list his achievements. Last time, it was a very cold message, very cold, and we let ourselves down with the way we sacked him last time, or parted ways with him. I think that was based on emotion, really, rather than somebody sitting down and thinking about what does this man mean to the club. Now we've listed his achievements. I think the counter to this is it might just, like it did to me a little bit when I first read it, push you back a little bit and say, well, why the hell are we doing it then? Why are we doing it if he's that important to us and he's given us so much? Why are we doing it? But then you have to sit down and you have to give your head a wobble. And Dave's given me a little bit of time to reflect as well. And you can't always look backwards. I can't yet make an argument for sacking him, but I can see benefits to it, fresh ideas, and somebody else coming in and having a go. It's really difficult, really difficult. Marco says, like I said the other day, Jimmy, the king is dead. Long live the king. That were a Lee Edridge line firstly mentioned in this context. The Treasury needs to open the box now and get some signings in before we miss out. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Well, on that note, Maury's just posted in our chat. I don't know how accurate it is because I don't know the source, but Tommy Doyle linked to Sunderland now. So we had Jimmy Dunn today, staying at QPR. Chris Wilder signing in the making, waiting in the wings. Rug pulled out. Doesn't happen. Harry Darling, we were interested in Harry Darling. Not a huge difference maker, but a good defender at this level, and we need defenders. Free transfer. Obviously would have cost a sign-on fee, but signed for Norwich. And now we may miss out on Tommy Doyle. I think, in all honesty, and we just mentioned it on stream with Jord, I think you can forget all the targets that we've previously mentioned. They were legitimate targets. There were reasons that we were talking about them in our 10-minute transfer videos. But it's all changed now. It's going to be a new manager with new ideas, probably a new approach from the club. And we'll have to look at it a different way. Statman Jack says, so good about this. I seriously hope it works out. Otherwise, we'll be begging him to come back by Christmas. Thank you for everything, Chris. The ball is in your court now, board members. Yeah, I can see people being unhappy about it, obviously. But I want this same energy if it goes well. I don't. And I am playing devil's advocate a little bit because I think it's a very harsh and a brave decision at the same time. But let's not be all sack the board. I know Jack's not saying this, but it's comments we've all seen. Sack the board. What are they doing? They're clueless. They don't know about soccer. All this sort of rubbish. It's the first huge move as owners of Sheffield United, and it's a really risky one. Real risk in second and final year of parachute payments as well. So it is promotion or bust for Sheffield United in a lot of ways. Chris Wilder, I think, guarantees you a playoff spot. Ruben Selles, he is a man under fire already, and it's not Ruben Selles' fault either. Look, can we just we'll make that clear tomorrow when we're probably doing whether it's a hot off the presser, I'm not entirely sure, but it'll be something similar. I wanted you to do it, says Gabe. I know you did, pal. I know you did, Gabe, the American who is the Leeds fan. Brilliant statistician as well, by the way, to be fair to him. Fairfield says, not going to lie, been critical of Wilder all season because we've been poor, but it does feel odd to sack him now, especially if it's Selles coming in. New manager announced, says Blades. No, not yet.
Stop you. It has, apparently.
What?
Yeah, apparently. Which is
this how we're doing it?
That's a bit quick.
Oh my God. Sheffield United. Ruben is our man. Sheffield United have moved swiftly to fill the managerial hot seat at the Bramall Lane, appointing a boss with Premier League and Championship experience. Ruben Selles is Ruben Selles is the new Blades manager and moves to S2, having signed a 3-year deal with the club. Further coaching appointments will follow in due course. Spaniard Selles successfully kept Hull City in the Championship last season, despite taking over with the club bottom of the league with an impressive win against United, key to their survival. Prior to his arrival on Humberside, he led Reading impressively, despite the lengthy period of off-the-field turmoil, leaving the Royals in 6th place in League One. His coaching CV is extensive and includes working with Premier League Southampton, whilst he also boasts a background across several areas of the game. On his arrival, our new boss said, "You can't do it like this. You can't do it like this." On his arrival, our new boss said, "When we first heard about the possibility of coming here, it was a no-brainer for us to join a club with this kind of history and with a mission to move forward and try to be even more competitive. This is a very powerful and ambitious project. It was very important at the start of the conversations that everyone is on the same page." Yeah. Fan base included then. We need to embrace the data and new technologies, but the most important thing is to not forget the football essence. We are capable. I think we are capable of delivering a good model and optimize our performance by using all the tools that we have. Our identity is always very clear. We want to be aggressive. We want to make things happen, so the fans can expect a team which is not going to wait or be reactive. We will be proactive. We're going to go and try to be as competitive as we can in every single game. If we can do that, then we'll give ourselves a very good chance of winning games. Born in a neighbourhood in Valencia, Selles played for local side Pareta CF before a short stint with Burgessot. At the age of just 16, he was already coaching youth sides locally. In 2002, Selles entered the University of Valencia and enjoyed a promotion as coach of the organisation's football team. Academically, Selles has a master's degree in sports and physiology and furthered his CV when graduating from UEFA's Pro License programme when he was just 25. Selles has enjoyed a wide range of coaching experiences during stints in Greece, Russia, Azerbaijan, Norway, where he combined his coaching role as head of analysis, Denmark and Spain prior to coaching and managing in the Premier League with Southampton, followed by stints with Reading and most recently Hull. There will be a full interview with Ruben available shortly, with further communication from our owners, COH Sports. Okay, Dave, I'm throwing it to you for a second.
Flabbergasted that they've put that out that quickly.
In that way.
Tasteless. And I want to see the interview to see if he actually says that, because it feels like ChatGPT's written what Selles has apparently said. That's poor. Poor. Could have waited till the morning.
Yeah. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. I thought, and I'm trying to give club benefit. Look, I am pro Sheffield United, and I always will be, but it don't mean you can't be disappointed in the way they operate sometimes. I thought genuinely that they were giving us the night for Chris Wilder. We all know what's round the corner. It's the worst kept secret, probably intentionally from the club, that Ruben Selles is going to be our new manager. I thought they were at least giving Wilder a little bit of time to get his flowers.
Not even an hour.
Yeah, have the adulate. Not even that, mate. I don't think. Not even that.
About half an hour they've given.
Yeah, 45 minutes. We've been on air 40 minutes. We must have gone live 5 minutes after it were announced. So I think it's tasteless.
Yeah,
and to do it just like that in terms of a text quote welcoming him What is that about? It's so disappointing. Not the fact that he's been appointed. Look, we knew about Ruben Selles. We did a few pieces on Ruben Selles in terms of, or I'd certainly done a little bit of research into him. And he's got pedigree. He has definitely got pedigree. He's a strong, intelligent football man, no doubt about it. He's not proven as a manager to this level of club, because at Southampton, the only club on par with us and slightly higher than us, if we're honest, when he was in charge, he wasn't successful. It was his first managerial job. You cut him some slack for that. He's done a very good job wherever he's been. But I'm so disappointed with that. I think I have got, I don't know what to do now, because in my head, it were going to be two separate streams, really. We were going to be talking about Chris Wilder tonight, rightly so, because Chris Wilder deserves that attention. And then tomorrow, after it had been announced at a press conference, as a professional club should be doing, we will then move on to the natural progression is to Ruben Selles is our man. I've got a couple of videos lined up from some Hull City fans who tell us exactly what it's like and how Ruben Selles is going to be. I don't want to play him at the minute. We will play him because I'm grateful to the work that they've done for us, but it don't feel right right. Thanks, Wilder. I know we spent first 40 minutes of this stream saying how sad it is and how monumental it is that we're ending this era that you've led us through. Right. Ruben Selles has been announced, guys. Come on, let's get into it. It leaves a bitter taste.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
It's just poor. It's and I know people will be like, well, we can just get on with it, and we all know it, and they can't win or whatever. But to go within an hour, it's when the noise around the club, you can see so many people saying it's a bad move, and whether you think it's a good move or bad move. And I didn't really want to come on tonight and say how I feel about whether I think it's the right decision or who I think I'd like to see take it on, because it felt disrespectful to Chris to kind of be like, oh, you're gone now, so don't worry, let's just talk about everything going forward. And there's loads to be positive for, and I'm positive that I can make arguments that will have a lot of people who are feeling down about it or feeling really negative about it might just be able to change their opinion. But it just doesn't feel the right time. You've got to let
it breathe.
Yeah,
let it breathe a little bit.
Give it 12 hours.
What harm is that? People to sort of. I just think that's a kick at me. I try it, like I say, I always try and fight the club's corner, and I will continue to do that. But they just don't make it easy sometimes. I think, to be fair, people have been waiting, and we've been keeping them long enough. So I'm going to get our first caller on. There is so many comments to go through, and I will continue to do that. Obviously, the tone of the comments will change as we catch up with them. So I'm anticipating a lot of wilder comments that might be, and now it's a Ruben Selles joint stream as well now. So anyway, welcoming in our first caller. I believe it's his first time calling in, but because he's a fairly new Platinum Ramble, but already has got well into the swing of things. Welcome to the show, Lewis. How are you doing, pal?
Evening, boys. I'm well. I'm not good, to be honest. I was about to say I feel the same as you. I think at the moment.
How do you quantify that, mate? How do you wrap your head around it?
Well, I was going to come on and to be honest, I felt like I was going to echo a lot of the stuff that you two were saying about Wilder and really, really sort of talking about him. And then when Dave just tipped us off that Selles had been announced within an hour or within 45 minutes of, read the room. It's somber at best, and I think it's insensitive.
We'd have been ready for it in the morning, wouldn't we? We'd have been ready for it tomorrow. Just let it breathe a bit.
It's shocking. I'll move away from that just to say that to echo what you two have both said about Wilder. He's a landmark figure in the club's history, and like you say, he deserves his flowers. He deserves all the tributes he can get for me, because I remember where we were in 2016.
Yeah.
And he transformed the club. There's no doubt about it. Whether you love Wilder or you don't, we may not be where we are now without him.
Oh, we wouldn't. I've no doubt about that.
He's just a remarkable figure in the club's history. And I'm trying to stay away from it, but yeah, slightly peeved at the way that's been communicated just now, when we're really trying to. I mean, look, we knew it would. Of course, we knew it was coming. It was leaked out. We knew it was coming, but it's still a shock. Like you said, Jimmy, when you see it in black and white, it's still, you've got to process. It's a strange feeling, because I've never quite felt that emotional about another manager before. You know, managers, you like somebody, don't like somebody, come and go. We're the constant, but he's one of us, and he's not just one of us. He did a remarkable job twice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So very, very, very sad. Look, I'll back Ruben. You know, like a few of us have been saying, get totally behind him. I feel sorry for him that's been announced this way, personally.
Do you know that I was looking forward to you coming on stream for the first time, because whether it was while Chris was still here or while he wasn't, I was obviously going to chuck in. Didn't you play for Chris Wilder at one stage? Didn't you? It just doesn't feel right to do it now, but I'm going to do it anyway, because he, you were one of. Oh, he's gone. Look, he's gone.
No, nightmare.
Your screen's gone, but I think he's still there, aren't you? You're lurking. Can you hear me, mate?
I'm still here, boys. I've just got you back.
All right, okay. We ain't got you back.
You with Sky as well?
We can't see you, mate.
I am actually, funnily enough. Yeah.
Oh well, there
Can't
you
make
go.
it up, can you?
We've fallen out with Sky. Maybe they found you. Maybe they found you, pal.
Definitely one of us if you're with Sky.
Yeah, we can't see you, mate, which obviously sort of doesn't help. Anything we'll touch on your time playing for Wilder another time, because I want you to. Yeah. I've got a feeling you'll be beaming about it, really, and I think there's a more appropriate occasion that we can talk about it, because you were one of the ones that played in the pre-match before the Bash game, didn't you? Part of the overall charity day, which was an absolutely amazing occasion. So I want to hear all about that at the right time. It just feels like United have soured it a little bit for us at the minute. I think that would have been an ideal thing if it would have just been a Chris Wilder evening tonight, and not the Ruben. And this is nothing against Selles. Again, he's not done anything wrong personally. It's just the way the club's gone about it. But it just don't feel right now. It feels like a bit of a kick. So, anything else you want to add, mate, out of the darkness, to because we can't see your face. But anything you'd like to add, mate, while we've got you on?
Yeah, just one final thing that I know he'll be disappointed. You know, like we said, he'll be gutted at the moment. But what he should remember, and I hope he will remember in a few weeks when he started to get over it and process it, is the legacy he left behind, which he has done. And he'll always be remembered, as Dave said. He's missing Sheffield United for me. So I think I'll sign off on that, gents, and thanks for having me on. Pleasure to
Lewis,
speak.
No problem, mate. I'm sorry you've had a couple of technical issues there, because I were looking forward to getting into a proper chat with you, but we've all season to do that, mate. So thank you for coming on, having your say, and really appreciate you being first. I know Dave was first caller on, but he's a co-host at the minute. He's just hanging on. So thank you for jumping on.
Thanks, fellas.
No worries, mate. See you soon.
You say the nicest thing.
Joking. Yeah, I watched you for your reaction then, and you did that as well.
Third wheel, anger on.
No,
anymore?
I only do it for effect. Listen, I want to get through the early part of this stream without you. So, look, out of the darkness and into the light, it's Rich, aka Ollie, with the spotlight.
I haven't got the spotlight on. I've got the window for that.
I know. So, Rich, long time. Obviously, you're in our chat. You're one of our admins in the chat. Thank you for doing everything you do to support us. But we haven't seen you on screen for a while. So, how are you, mate? Let us know, and let the audience know about your thoughts about everything that's going off at United at the minute. The quick turnaround of announcements tonight that has sort of confirmed everything that we thought were going to be happening.
Well, like you say, read the room. It wasn't not even half an hour, and the seat's not even cold yet. So yeah, I don't. That's a bit of an own goal.
Not half. So disappointing.
Yeah, look, I feel I've got nothing against Selles, but yeah, like you said, I agree with both of you. It should have been what's 12 hours gonna do? They're not gonna go and sign half a team in overnight, are they? It's we already know that the transfers have gone up in the air now, so it's.
Honestly,
Yeah.
mate, I can't understand it. I cannot understand the thought process behind. We were all convinced it was going to be tomorrow, and then a statement comes out about Wilder, and you think, well, I know why they're doing it now, because they're clearly not going to have a chance for a press conference this evening, and that's probably as much as sacking a manager is never a nice thing. They're sort of giving the fans a little bit of time to reflect, really, and have a bit of appreciation. We reflected for all of about half an hour, didn't we? And
Yeah, but I have to have a sort of a giggle to myself, because as a club we've always said, "Oh God, we take so long to announce stuff," and this,
you're right.
and it's like we were 2 weeks worst kept secret of Wilder, and then it's like not even half an hour, and it's you go and announce that. So yeah, I agree with sentiments that Dave said and everybody else has said, that we should be he's left us in a better position. Both times in the Premier League we could have capitulated and rolled down the leagues, but last season we rolled our socks up. Could have done a Luton. We could have been Luton. We could have been like that. And yeah, we've instilled a bit more fight. And let's face it, I know when he left the first time, we were a bit on our backsides with the not winning many games in the second season. But this time he's left, and he's left a bit sort of better standing.
Yeah.
That I think that there's a lot more good vibes around the club now than there was last time. So yeah, I think that's what tarnished him the first time, was that the whole sort of cloak and dagger, didn't leave through the front door sort of thing. But this time I think a lot of people have been like, well, it's very harsh for him to lose his job. So yeah,
agreed, mate. And any apologies that we can't keep callers on for ages tonight, because there's a lot to get through. But, any thoughts just finally on Selles? It's like you say, you're not going to blame him, but does he excite you at all? Does it get you thinking it's something?
It's one of these. It's a modern day bit. And as I commented yesterday in the chat that you two probably saw, I'm not against Selles. He's an up and coming manager. He is something different to what we have had in the past. Like everyone had said, we've always gone after people who have had a connection with the club, a fan, all this. And it's exciting that we're going to go down a different route, but it's always a bit sort of nervous and apprehensive, like I said to you guys yesterday. We have tried that in the past, and I don't want to be a downer, but we, remember David Weir and Nigel Atkins.
What are you doing to me? What are you doing
to me? We tried the progressive bit, but flipping it with Brighton, with Brentford, all going down this AI route, there is a lot of sort of modern day proof that we should need to go down that route. So yeah, you just got to trust the club. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in the club tonight with what they've done with Wilder, but I'm excited on the same breath as well.
I'm there with you, Rich. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised, unfortunately. It's not the first time they've let us down with stuff like this, is it? And I just think we need to get better and sort of represent ourselves better as a club.
Personally, I think if the nose goes and gets made redundant again, I think he should be head of media. And
yes, would love that.
can't afford me, Rich.
That's true. That's true. They can't afford him. I can't
Yeah.
afford him.
Now you've got the second job on the Ramble. You know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, he's living life. Right. Thank you, Rich.
Right.
Really appreciate you coming on, pal. Let's hope it
No
goes
worries.
on next time, and we'll
Yeah.
catch up soon.
We'll keep in touch, mate. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Eric.
See you soon.
Cheers, bud.
Nice one, Rich. Great to have Rich back on. I'm just going to read a few more comments, then I'm going to jump in some more callers because I don't want to keep people waiting too long. End of an era, says Toddy. What a guy. Build him a statue, the journeyman. And these are all obviously prior to the Selles news breaking. These are just over an hour ago. Max says, just remember, to all blades, Chris Wilder will want Ruben Selles to do well, as that will mean his boyhood team is doing well. So back the new man. That is exactly true and a really good sentiment from Max. Joe says, I think the owners need to not announce the new manager till the morning. Otherwise, I don't think it'll go down too well. Give people time to sit on the news.
That aged well.
Joe. Well, no, but it's smart
Right.
from Joe. It's exactly how we're all thinking, isn't it? I think that's a great
100%
point to
right.
make at the time. And he
Yeah.
was bang on in what he said. Steve Holmes says, sad day, Jimmy. Just got to say thank you, Chris, for everything. I agree. Justin says, thank you, Chris Wilder. Indeed, he lived the dream of every single Blades fan. Absolutely incredible memories he created. All the best, Chris. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. He's a Blade says, now it's done. I'm moving on and looking forward to seeing what comes next. So there will be some Blades that can just cut and run really quickly. And I think this has been part of the club leaking it. There's no two ways of doing it. That people like he's a Blade. It don't mean he doesn't appreciate what Chris Wilder's done. It means he's had time to get his head around it. Now it's done, he says. I'm moving on.
Yep.
Others, like myself, will be well aware that it was happening and not quite let it sink in to the point where now it's happened. Oh, no, I don't like this at all. Daz says, we've known it's been coming, but I feel sick. That all fans that wasn't on the Wilder train, let's see how green the grass is. Thank you, Chris, for every moment. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. And Daz, this is, and you're entitled to your opinion, pal, but we always try and avoid this sort of split. And this is what the club does by making these sort of decisions. So all the fans that weren't on the Wilder train, all that, we'll see. We're all going to, but no doubt, Daz would want to be proved wrong in terms of he wants Ruben Selles to be a success. It just hurts us. It just hurts us the way it's happened, really.
Yeah,
Fairfield. Sorry, mate. Go on.
It's the downside of having Wilder as the manager, or having somebody who's the club's that much part of them.
Yes.
For us. So
he's a part of the club's identity, isn't he?
Yeah. So when managers don't have that connection, I don't think it'd have had the same impact. Now, I think they'd be a little bit more kind of understanding of why. I think Wilder being Wilder has a lot to do with the emotive side of it.
Yeah, I agree. Scary times, but let's give the gaffer a chance at least, lads. The new gaffer a chance at least. Exciting times from a recruitment perspective at least, but risky move. I also think it's quite risky with the recruitment. It is exciting, but I certainly think it's risky. Time will tell. Mike Todd says, Leeds fan in peace. Don't get the sacking of Chris Wilder. He collected so many points last season. Rico says, the man goes out of League 2 after a stinking 6 years of misery. League 1, but yeah, it was a stinking 6 years. When Lewis was talking about it, there would have been, there were a few of us, because there's still a few thousand, but there weren't many people in the stands when the Nigel Atkins team were doing their lap of honour. But we were, a few of us were there, and it's not something you forget. And Chris Wilder completely changed that. Completely. And people wouldn't recognise the club. Michael says, thanks for the memories, Chris. A true club legend. Well said. Andy says, Wilder did an amazing job. Thank you, sir. You brought this club forward in many ways, and long may your legacy continue. It will, mate, undoubtedly. Rico says, the man got us out of League 1. Yeah, no problem. Loft says, best move for you. Don't rate Selles, though. Steve Holmes says, sometimes I didn't agree with some decisions, but that's the nature of the game. It's a very sad day. I'm desperately gutted. Yeah, me too, pal. Me too. Gutted to see it's been made official, says Danny. Now time for a new manager and coach. We need to back them and the club up the Blades. A bit gutted, to be honest, says Craig. Lewis says, he's one of our own. The Yanks have to prove themselves. Yeah, they've made a rod for their own back here. It's a brave move for them. I've no doubt they're aware of the impact this will have had. They might not be. They might have underestimated it.
They will be now.
Yeah, there certainly will be now. There certainly will be, but it's not just a risk in terms of the reward that they get. It's a risk in terms of their own future in charge of us, and the relationship it's going to either solidify or break with the fan base. So Luke says still be there next season, and it's now time to move with the times because we can't keep challenging for promotion and do nothing to adjust to stay in the league. Thank you so much, Chris. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Justin says 2 things can be true at once, though. Sad that Wilder has gone and be excited for what could be next. I said exactly the same in the Platinum chat earlier, pal. I for one am looking forward to it. Could be a disaster, could be a masterstroke. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Will says, if we want to achieve Premier League status and consistently run as a Premier League outfit, then something had to change. I'm excited for this new era. It isn't the end. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning. Janet says, thanks, Chris. You will be much missed. Wishing you all the best for the future. United won't be the same without you. The main concern, says Fairfield, is for me, is keeping our best players now. I don't worry about that personally. Paul Rose of Well-Stoned Landscapes over there near Dave says, evening, Jimmy. Yeah, there you go. Evening, Jimmy. Hope you're doing well. Still very much on the fence with all this, as I can see both sides of the argument for sacking him and keeping him. Nervous times ahead, I suppose. You've been very level-headed through it all, Paul. I know we've spoken very briefly about it, but you can see both sides, and I think people need to try and do that. You know, you'll be on one. The argument will be that you'll be on one side or the other. We have to try and see that opposite opinion, and that's what we always try and do here, isn't it? So, gone till November by Wycliffe, says Luke. Yeah, maybe he'll be gone till November. He'll be gone till November. Have a stable ship now. Thanks for all your effort. Yeah, you've really just got that, haven't you?
No, I got it. It wasn't what I was shaking my head at.
Oh, my singing.
There's a key in there somewhere.
You don't think I'm? You didn't close your eyes and think Wycliffe were in the room?
I think you're an incredibly talented man, Jimmy.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. So me. Well, my dad doesn't tell me, that's a lie. Thanks for all your effort, Jimmy, giving us the information. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Thank you, pal. Jason says the new manager has Mount Everest on his back. One bad start and everyone will be all over him. Thanks for everything, Chris. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Scotty lets me know that there's a statement from Wilder out to Gabe with a £5 super chat from a Leeds fan. Thank you, pal. Didn't realise he meant so much to you personally. Apologies for taking the mick, bud. Respect. Don't worry, mate. You don't have to get it if you're not a Blade. You don't have to get it, but most Blades will. So, next guest time, I think. And the man who has, the next up in line, they've all been waiting very patiently, but it is our Cornish Blade. It's Dave Morwood. How's it going, pal?
Oh, it's put me right off my pasty, that, mate. You know, in the watch along when I told you I was ready, you know, and I come to terms with it. It was going.
Yes.
Yeah, and well, obviously,
Dave, I was same. I was exactly the same. You know, I'm not happy about it. I don't think the majority of us are happy about it, and that's nothing against Selles. I had got my head around it. I knew it was happening. We all knew it was happening at this stage. We were just we were waiting for the Ruben Selles press conference, really. And then the statement comes out, and it's a dagger, isn't it?
I was going to start off by saying it was a bit classy, the statement that the owners put out.
Yeah.
With all these achievements. And
I didn't mind it at all. I didn't mind it at all.
Chris Wilder's little message came out, and then the Ruben Selles one comes out. You know, it's just.
I know. I thought I know Lee pushed back on it a little bit, and because it's very sensitive to some people, this subject, and that's natural. But I thought the statement from the club initially on Wilder was okay. Didn't mind it. I thought it's probably quite not brave of them, but they didn't have to mention his successes like they have and gone into the detail that they did, because again, it reminds the fans just how good he's been, which already is a controversial decision. But the second thing with Wilder's statement, just thinking about it a little bit, it wasn't pointed, but it was very much this is not my decision. I don't want to leave, and I am sad to be leaving. Yeah. And then obviously it's top, which is fine, and you can get that, and you can understand that it's maybe not a mutual thing after all, which I think we all knew anyway. But it's the Selles. It's not just that they've announced it so quickly either. If they'd have done this at 3 o'clock this afternoon and announced Wilder had gone at 2:30, and there's a press conference at 3, then I don't even think that's as bad. But I think for it to be done so late, for us to allow us to sort of think that it's not going to be tonight, then it's not going to be tonight. And then when they do it so late, you think, well, that's all right, because that's going to be that's an evening to reflect on Chris Wilder's time with us.
It's like akin to getting a text message from a girlfriend saying we're through.
Yeah, it is. It's like being dumped by text, isn't it? That's exactly right. That's how it feels.
Dumped and, and I'm now going out with Pete instead.
Yeah.
But
I hate Pete.
I mean, it's like, for me, he has
Pete Rogers,
the best boss at Sheffield United.
Wow. And you saw it in 1893, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah, I did. My first manager was John Harris.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
John Harris, my first manager. Hodgkinson in goal, Seth Caldwell at right back.
Because a lot of people in the conversation, it's usually Bassett or Wilder now. That's usually the conversation. Not many people can go back to your time, can they? So do you still think Wilder's the man?
I still think Wilder's the man. He made, you said, he made me feel passionate about the club.
Yeah.
Even at my age, I was singing along and jumping up and down when we scored.
Yeah, of course you
I'm not saying I won't be doing that again. We've got to give Ruben chance to do it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's Wilder, the memories, that promotion from League One. The favourite one of mine is, Ashton's arriving.
Yes. Yeah.
Against Leeds.
Or closing in.
He's never lost to the unclean lot, has he?
No, he's not. He's not. Nor will he ever.
No. But I will, sleep on it in about 20 minutes and,
we won't be done in 20 minutes. We won't be done in 20 minutes, mate. You know us. But go on then, before I let you go, what's your just first initial thoughts on Ruben Selles? Really? That much?
Yeah, he did a good job at Reading, didn't he?
He did.
An enormous pressure, and is the team going to be alive next week? Have I got players? And all of that. And I think at Hull, they looked good when they came to Bramall Lane. They did look good, and I've heard some people say he's got tweaks and he'll do this. He's quick to see that something's going wrong and he'll tweak it. So, I just hope that he's 3/4 of the man that Wilder is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to back him.
Yes, and so we should, mate. So we should.
Like I said in that little message, Jim, United's in my blood, but the gaffer's in my heart.
Oh, mate.
And I will leave you with that, mate.
What a top man. I hope you're all right tonight, and we'll catch up with you soon. All right,
yeah,
David.
Catch up soon, mate. Cheers, Dave.
Thanks for jumping on,
mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
All right, mate. We'll struggle to get a better line than that, I think. Than wow. It's just incredible. Right, jumping into another caller, and then we'll have to jump in some more comments. Otherwise, we'll be reading comments from last Tuesday if we're not careful. So, next up, is he going to be positive? Is he going to have one foot in the grave?
Remember your protected characteristics from the watch along.
They say I might as well face the truth. It's positive. It's the mark positive, Meldrew. How's it going, pal?
Oh, we chaps, you okay?
How are you, mate? Well, I think you've heard how we feel, mate. I am gutted. I am, although we were expecting it. Davey's gutted, although we were expecting it. And how are you feeling, mate?
I think since it sort of come out in press of a day, I've been all right with me. Like, it is what it is, isn't it? Like, we can all sit here and we can have opinions and listen. You've got to thank Wilder for what he did. The way he turned us round back in 2016 to come back. Some managers wouldn't have even done that. He come back when we were needing him again. He come back. And he said at the end of that Newcastle game, he said we'll not be a soft touch next season, and we weren't. We were right up there, weren't we? Right to end. We know it's been coming. I think, like you've said, Jimmy, I were a little bit sort of thinking he might have sort of left even if we had gone up. To be honest. But yeah, it's a sad day for the club. It's a bit of an era, and it kind of feels like last time it always felt like, oh, there might be a chance he could possibly come back if his sort of predecessor doesn't sort of pull up any trees. But this time it does feel like sort of he won't be coming back. You know what I mean? I can't see it this time around. To be fair.
It felt like unfinished business last time, didn't it? Like he'd left a little bit on the table. Whereas this time, I don't think there's much left for him to do. Obviously, he could come back and have continued success with us like he's had previously, but he doesn't need to conquer anything, does he, really? I think he sort of righted a lot of wrongs this second time round in terms of fan feeling towards him. And that was the only thing to do, really. You know, ultimately, he hasn't won anything but this second time around. But I think he's wrestled back his reputation, and that, to him, clearly means a lot. It does to all of us, really, doesn't it, to a degree? But I am delighted in a lot of ways that he is gonna be revered now by 98% of the fan base, as opposed to when he first left, it might have been 75%, because there were a lot pushing back on him when he first came back to the club, and not because of his ability. His ability and his history with us was clear. Or what he can achieve at our club and how he can make us feel. I think a lot of them just felt let down by him. I think they just felt like he had been our leader, and we all followed him, and he had let us down. And some of us were easier to forgive that than others. Again, I have to stress, none of us know the full story. A handful of people will know the full story. So there's a chance that he didn't let us down at all and things were taken out of his hands. But the narrative tends to be that he left out the back door. He's done everything he can to come back in and turn that opinion around, and he's done it for me. He didn't have to do any work on me, but there will have been people at the club that support the club that are in our chat that were turned around by his second stint and the fact that he's come back and given everything he can to this club. So he has ensured his legendary status will remain intact long after he hangs up his tracksuit, I suppose. So, and that's all he can do. So I'm interested that you said that, Mark, because a bit like Jord, really, Jord Motson was similar in terms of the immediate reaction from Jord. And I think, if I remember rightly, we've over 100 people in his Platinum chat, so I can't remember everybody's reaction, but I'm pretty sure you were pretty angry when you first heard the news breaking. And then it didn't take long, but you've leveled out, haven't you, a little bit? It might not have been yourself that were that, but George certainly was irate. He won't mind me saying it. He was irate.
He won't talk to me. He won't talk to me about it.
It lost. It were like it. I've never seen him like it. It were like a red mist. He could not believe what were happening, and he's had to calm himself down, listen to other people's perspectives on it, which is always what we try and do. And he's allowed himself to process it a little bit, and he's got better. I don't think you were quite that level, but I'm sure I remember you saying, "Well, why on earth would they sack Chris Wilder?" And then as it sort of processes, and whether we like it or not, it's happening. We just have to get on with it. So, is that fair to say? Or
I think you bang on with that. I mean, like you've said, that's kind of how we're feeling at the beginning. But I just kind of think like there's no I can do to change it. So, do you know what I mean? I'm quite bad at that myself. Like I do worry about stuff when sometimes there's no I can do about it.
I do, mate.
So I'm trying to get to the point.
My dad always does mad with me for it. You can't change it. Why are you worried?
And I'm trying to get to the point where I just think, look, it is what it is. It's a new era. It's a big gamble. I think, like you've touched on already, he's sort of starting with that mountain on his back already. I think some fans are dismissing him, and I think we'd be a bit daft as a fan base to do that because, listen, if there's one thing that these players are going to need come first game in August, they're going to need us on their side, and that's got a bit message. That's sort of reason why we're coming on. It's got a bit message that, listen, we can be disappointed. You've got to think at good times, but at the end of the day, there's a man there who's took that job because he's been given that opportunity.
Yeah,
we can't just jump on his back straight away. How must that make him feel? Like coming into a brand new club, he'll have his own ways, he'll have his own philosophy.
Good young progressive manager. His only crime is that he's not Chris Wilder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's not done anything wrong.
And I don't agree with the fact that, like, Wilder did have his flaws, but I think, like, it's the amount of points he accumulated, and you've got to look at where we were, considering where we were at the beginning of the season, which sort of, that's the thing that I can't really still get my head around with it all, to be honest. And they're replacing him with a man who, let's be honest, they touched on in that statement, like, he's got Premier League experience. I think he managed Southampton for like 1 game or 2 games, something like that, and then left.
Oh,
it's not a lot. It's not a lot at all.
2 caretaker spells, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But listen, it is what it is.
Games. It's not enough to call it Premier League experience, is it?
No, he managed them for 18 games.
Oh, really? As many as that?
Really?
First stint were a caretaker. It was 1-1 and he drew 1. And then he was in charge from 12th of Feb 23 to 28th of May. Played 17, won 2, drew 4 and lost 11. 11.67 win percentage. But with Reading, he were there 18 months, played 78 games and won 34, 43%, 43.5% win percentage.
I do think as well, I think the more I've thought about this, and I've had chats with a few mates of mine, I think they're looking at it from the fact of, I think it's probably the style of play of how he plays that's probably forced the change. I think. I don't think they've looked at the failed promote. They probably have, obviously, but I do think a lot of it is down to playing style. But like I've said before, fans just want winning football, and if he comes in and loses 4 out of the first 5,
yeah,
they've made like you said, Jimmy, they've made a rod for their own back, and
yeah, they have.
They've got to like hold on to that, and they've got to, because like we've said, they might have underestimated it now, but come 5 games in, they'll know exactly what it means if things aren't going our way. And we've just got to run with it now. We've got to see what's what. And listen, you know me better than anybody. I can be negative Nelly a lot of time, but I just kind of think what's point in worrying about it? We've got to embrace it now, get behind him, and he's new man, innit? So
yeah, exactly right, mate. Exactly right. None of this is Ruben Selles' fault, is it? He comes in with huge pressure because of the man that came before him. I compared it on stream earlier with Jord, and I'm please consider this in context to anybody that wants to clip me up about it. There is no comparison to the size of club or history of manager in terms of what they've done. But the only thing I can compare it to is when Alex Ferguson left Man United and David Moyes came in, because everybody wanted Fergie to stay. He was retiring, obviously not sacked, but everybody wanted Fergie to stay. And the fact that Moyes came in after Ferguson, it were a poison chalice. It was never, ever going to succeed there because he wasn't going to be accepted because he was not Alex Ferguson. And Sheffield United, a much smaller club, Wilder won nowhere near anything as much as Fergie's won. That is not, the comparison is more what that man meant to Man United is similar to what Chris Wilder means to Sheffield United. Someone now has to follow Chris Wilder into that dugout, and through no fault of his, David Moyes, very well qualified to be a Man United manager at that time, a great choice. Ferguson picked him himself. Ruben Selles, I think, is a good young progressive manager. Would he be picked out of a lineup for me in terms of potential replacements? Probably not. But he's got the gig, and we'll back him. Like Mark says, like Dave said before, like everybody's saying in comments that has got their head around it, and those that haven't will, I'm sure, will back him because he's the Sheffield United manager, not because he's not Chris Wilder or whatever it might be. He's going to lead us forward for the foreseeable future, and we want him to succeed. And Wilder will want him to succeed as well, by the way. So
I'll just say one thing before I go as well. Like, I think we have had managers in past, such as Adkins, Jukanovic, where when they come in, the pedigree were quite high because of the level that they'd managed at. Adkins had managed at a lot higher than League One level.
Premier League, yeah.
He'd won promotions 2 or 3 times at a Championship. Just because of that, it don't guarantee. Just because he's not managed at a good level, it don't guarantee that he's just going to be poor at United. He might come in and set world alight, and 10 games in, we might be having this chat, and people are saying they're all chanting Ruben, 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 and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's
absolutely right, mate.
It works both ways, doesn't it? And you've just got to you've just got to take it for what it is. Let's just see what he's about. And we're not even some aren't even giving him a chance. He's not even stepped through the door yet.
Liam Rosini was sacked by Hull. He hadn't done bad, has he? So
Yeah.
they're absolute nutcases at that club. And I don't mean that, well, yeah, I do mean that. But it's that, you cannot account for how other people might think we're nutcases for sacking Grizz Wilder. But that you can't judge them on one stint somewhere or the fact that they haven't won something. Ruben Selles hasn't been in a position to get promoted out at Championship yet. So now he's gonna get that opportunity with a top 4 squad, undoubtedly. He will be backed in the summer.
They've got to back him, haven't they? They've got to back him.
Well, they've got to do, mate. There's no other way around it because they won't get a chance to next season if we don't go up this time. They won't have as much room for manoeuvre. They might back him financially, but FFP would probably come into place.
Statement from COH. I don't know if you want to read it out.
Oh my goodness me. Statement from
It
COH.
gets better, this, doesn't it?
Stay with us, Mark Meldrew, for this.
Look at his face as you read it out.
Oh my goodness me. I hope they're reading the room here. Dear Blades, today is the start of a new chapter for Sheffield United. After deep reflection and with the utmost respect, we have mutually agreed that Sheffield United and Chris Wilder will part ways, which means we have decided to sack him. Chris is a true Blade through and through, whose passion and leadership helped define a remarkable era. His achievements are etched in the fabric of this club, from guiding us to promotion from League One to an unforgettable 9th place finish in the Premier League, to steadying us through challenges with resilience and pride. That's a good paragraph, that. This season, he once again reminded us of his calibre by rallying the squad to a strong finish, only for it to end in devastating heartbreak at Wembley. It was a painful conclusion, but also a testament to how far he brought this group. Chris led with heart, with grit, and with a fierce commitment to the values of this city. We will forever be grateful for his contributions and wish him and his family nothing but success in his next chapter. Nice. I don't mind that. But again, reminding the fan base of what we're losing. Looking ahead, we're delighted that Ruben Selles will take over as first team manager. Ruben is a culture setter and represents a new direction. His work to date in England and in Europe has marked him as one of the more promising and progressive coaching talents. He demands intensity and execution and an attacking style of play, qualities we believe are essential for our club's long-term ambitions. I think I'll comment on this afterwards. Ruben understands the power of potential and how to unlock it, how to grow players, who can grow with the team. His ability to integrate academy talent, employ innovative recruitment and analytic strategies, play an exciting brand of football and adapt dynamically to the modern game are all tenets we believe that the next great chapter of Sheffield United football will be built upon. As owners, please know that we remain unwavering in our goal to see Sheffield United not only return to the Premier League, but to establish ourselves as a club that can compete consistently at a high level. This decision has not been made lightly. We are setting a new course, one built for the future, rooted in our identity and aimed squarely at bringing sustainable success to your city. To our supporters, thank you for your unwavering loyalty and belief. Sorry, that was a genuine slip. You are absolutely vital in our ability to succeed, and we know you will give Ruben full backing. The road ahead may require patience, but also promises excitement, growth, and a footballing identity that reflects both our history and our ambition. Up the Blades. Interesting. Initial thoughts, gentlemen. Mark, you are the guest with us at the moment live. So what are your first thoughts on that, pal?
They don't mess about with these statements, do they?
Chuffing out, honestly.
It makes me laugh. We've not communicated hardly out since they come in, and they can't get statements out quick enough. But it is what it is, isn't it? It's sort of thing you hear all the time. It does scream a little bit. That bit touching about academy, I just hope that doesn't scream, we've got no cash, we're not putting no in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit alarming, but listen, proof's in pudding. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Dave, thoughts, mate?
I think it's a very strong message about the direction that they're going in and points to why I think they've made the change.
Yeah.
I think we're going to...
Bit of clarity into it.
Yeah, we're going to see a very different way of doing things, and that's probably why you've seen the likes of Harry Darling and Jimmy Dunn not come. And I think what they're sort of saying there is about the patience is that they accept that we might be in for a little bit of a bumpy ride, but in order to become the sustainable Premier League club that they want us to be, and ultimately that's what we want, a successful team. That we're going to have some bumps in the road, and it might look worse before it looks better. But in order to, I guess, is kind of, if they feel that the way that we have been doing things has got this ceiling of maybe being a yo-yo club, we've got to do something different in terms of how we approach things. So that the signings, the AI comment, or not necessarily AI comment, the comment about innovative recruitment was quite key. And I think you'll start to see a lot of we'll go more for players that we believe have got the potential to grow and develop and be exciting in the long term over players that are out there that we think have had a great season last season. So it makes me feel that I wouldn't be expecting us to be seeing names that we're all kind of maybe overly familiar with.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is in our future, isn't it? Okay, yeah. Marco, any final points you want to make, pal?
No, that's it, chaps. Ta for having me on.
No worries. Thank you for coming on, pal. And we will.
Okay, lads. See you later.
Yeah, you too.
Take care, mate.
Nice one, Mark Meldrew. Much appreciated. Always good to catch up with him. I'm going to read a couple more comments. Apologies to the last two lads that are waiting behind the scenes. 92 points and sacked, very, very harsh and risky from a Leeds fan. Selles will be under major pressure. You're laughing at that. What's it from? Can you remember?
X Factor.
Correct.
Every time you say it, it just makes me laugh.
Well done. It makes me laugh as well. Yeah. That's why we get on so well, mate. That's why we get on so well. Very, very harsh. Yeah. Gets refused, doesn't she? Stop test 6 bounce. First time back in Championship. These Yankee Doodles haven't got a clue, says Rico. Jimmy, I have to say you looked tearful when it was confirmed. Thank you, Michael, for pointing that out. It's emotional, isn't it? But I wasn't quite that. I don't think I was anyway. But it is emotional. It hits people hard, and he has done an awful lot for me personally, and he'll have done the same for a lot of others, probably without even knowing. So Chris Wilde has been a huge part of my recovery. I could probably honestly say. Michael Wamsley says, big thanks to Nilly as well. They're a great partnership up the Blades. Absolutely right. Matt Prestige leaves as well. So yeah, they are a team. They are the team that comes in. And as I say, I expected Selles to bring his 2 assistants in. Did AI pick up our news? Seems to be picking up everything else for United, says Paul. Sorry, I didn't get that. I haven't got time to sort of be picking them apart, unfortunately. You okay, Jimmy? You seem like you're going to cry, mate. No, I'm good, mate. Thank you. Stupidity at its best. No way is this new guy an upgrade. There's now a message from Wilder. Thanks for the memories, Chris. Blades legend. We now move on and back the new manager up the Blades, up the Ramble. Do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go to the callers, but after I'm going to play one of our 2 messages about Selles now, because I think I want people to hear. They're only short clips. But I want to hear now that it's starting to sink in with a lot more people that, we'll move on. Let's first hear what Joe from To Hull and Back has to say about Ruben Selles.
Hello everyone, it's Joe Collins here from the To Hull and Back podcast. Ruben Selles then, going to the Blades, to Sheffield United. I think this is a very good appointment, and it's yet another example of our ownership sacking a manager who has then gone on and got a much better job. Rosenior fell upwards and Ruben Selles has done the same. There's a lot of doubt I've seen on social media as like, oh, how has he got this job? He's been, where I saw used was mid everywhere he's been. But that's not the case. Reading, he had the time to get a handle on a difficult situation, and he had them fighting for the playoffs before he made the move to the MKM Stadium in January last year. He took over a team that was bottom of the table. ended up being the league's lowest scorers, but our team was devoid of any sort of attacking threat, really. Our top scorer scored 6 goals all season. And, you know, we lost our 2 best wingers to ACLs. Louis Barry came in and got a serious knee injury, so we didn't really see any of him. And Elliot Matazo in central midfield, who we brought in January, unbelievable player, also got an ACL. So Ruben was dealt a really difficult hand. But he kept us up. That was his job when he came in. And he made us the 4th best defensive team in the league from when he took over, behind only Sheffield United, Burnley and Leeds. That's a good record. And I'm glad that his sacking hasn't tarnished, his sacking here hasn't tarnished his career, hasn't sort of put a black mark against his name, because it was never a doubt in my mind that he is a solid, well, for us, that was going to go on and be a solid, at least, Championship manager and could help us push up the table again. We were 14th in the form table from when he took over to the end of the season, which, when you consider the injuries we had and the hand he was dealt, isn't too bad. Isn't too bad at all. And had we had Ruben Selles from the start, we'd have been nowhere near relegation, which is good enough for me. I understand why some are sort of hesitant, but Ruben is a good manager. I've spent a fair bit of time with Ruben as well. He's a nice man. He's a lovely guy, smart, switched on. He's quite coy when it comes to transfers, impresses, doesn't give much away. But he's a good manager. He's a good bloke. And I think he'll be a very, very good appointment for Sheffield United. With attacking players, he can play more expansive football and get more goals out of the players at his disposal. So I don't think the way he was playing with us is how he wants to play football. In terms of his assistants as well, just quickly, he'll probably bring in James Oliver Pearce and Toby Loveland as his 2 assistants, who are, they're both switched on coaches as well. They know what they're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you to Joe from the To Hull and Back podcast. We've also got one from Hull City Fan Central as well, from Sam, coming up. Maybe on this stream, maybe on another, depends on whether it fits. But Joe from To Hull and Back has actually got his own YouTube channel. It's Old Grandpa Joe, and he hasn't posted for a long time. But when I was chatting to him about this, he said he's going to start putting videos out again. And I've been a long time fan of his channel. So if you're not already aware of it, do go and support him over there. Dave, any thoughts about what Joe had to say there? Obviously knows a little bit about him from his time at Hull.
So we've signed a manager. We don't know how to say his name to begin with.
Yeah. Selles.
Obviously.
Yeah. And both lads, spoiler, both lads say Selles. So that I'm sticking with Selles. We're Sheffield lads, aren't we? Well, that's Selles for me. Oh, you like to get it right though, don't you?
Yeah.
So pedantic.
I just find facts important.
All right, Dave Liari. Go on.
I don't know in there. I know it sounded really positive. I mean, I don't know a lot about the guy. I've said it many a time. I don't follow a lot else that's going on in the Championship other than United. He wasn't my pick, but I'll get behind him. And a lot of what was said there, really positive. And if he has been dealt a bit of a bad hand with injuries and still kept them up, why have they got rid of him?
Well, nutcase in charge. That's why. Right. The lads have been waiting long enough. I've got 2 callers left, and the first one, I think. Well, we'll wait and see. We all know him. He's become a bit of a cult figure on the channel. It's Jamie Dumpling. How are you going, pal?
Hello there.
What? Look at this. I knew that's what you were playing with in the background. Look at this, Dave. Dave, you missed it. You didn't look.
Hello.
Wave it again.
How are we doing? We all right?
Unbelievable. Go on then, Jay. Go on, pal. What we got?
It's preparation for pre-season. Don't you worry. We've got big things coming.
Big things coming on the Ramble. Thank you, pal. Yeah. And what are your thoughts initially on the change at Sheffield United?
It's numb. But I've just been watching a sort of a Chris Wilder montage video of his best bits, where he's like asking the mayor for the chain, almost falling off the open top bus.
Brilliant that way. Absolutely brilliant.
It's put a bit of a smile on my face, to be fair, just looking back on the good times. And even when he came back in when we were not last season, season before, and it were like just sort of kind of memories that he's given us. I think you can only thank him. It's been a pleasure just having him around. And I know it may come across a bit of a weird comment, but I'm so glad when George died, he was the manager. Like, and I know that it's
a weird comment.
Strange thing, but the fact he was someone who knew George well, a club hero, and knew how we felt, and then some. It just, I'd rather it be someone like him rather than someone who's never met George, like, and did.
Do you know what, mate? That is really well said, and I think it's
Comment
a really,
of the night.
really
Comment
astute
of the
point.
night.
And I think it got handled as well as it possibly could have done, and he played a huge part in that. And I think that's a credit to him as well, because it'll have hurt him just as much as it did any of those players that were so close to him as well. Obviously, we were an extension of that as a fan base, but they genuinely knew him as a person. So, yes, and that just is a marker of the man, really. I think in terms of his leadership and how strong he is as a person. I don't think it's an out of order comment at all. I think it's a sensitive comment to make in terms of, you know, it always sparks a reaction whenever you talk about such a sensitive time. I think it's more than right that you can say that, mate. No problem at all. Thoughts on how the club have handled it? I can already see some falling out online. I think we're going to try and move past this as best we can, but it's all right to be honest about how we feel about it, no matter the criticism that people are getting online for being unhappy with how the club have handled it. We will draw a line under this at some stage, but were you disappointed with the quick turnarounds of statement, or do you think it's appropriate, like ripping off a plaster, mate? Do you think it's just a case of get on with it and you know, the king is dead, long live the king, a little bit?
I mean, they did need to reveal it sooner rather than later, and I think that's a given. But it weren't even an hour. I think that's where the issue is. You can wait. Bear in mind, we've got till 1st of July to get that news out at the maximum point, realistically. Give it just a couple hours a day.
I don't think it.
And at least people can process the fact he's leaving, thank him, enjoy it, and then we can go, right, let's move on now. We've had this time, thank him. We had 45 minutes. And for a man that took us, I know he's had that before when he left initially, but he's gotten us back to a stage like he did before where he set the pinnacle of where he could have possibly gotten us potentially, where he's left on a high. He's not left where it's like, oh yeah, he could have done this and that better. He's left on a high, and he's left in best possible terms where he said, look, he's pretty much said, I wish Ruben best of luck, and he's always going to be welcome back at Lane, no matter what. Even when he went to Borough and he imagined, he got applause and everything. And I think all you can do now, because as you've said, it's not Ruben's fault that he's coming. He's taking the opportunity, and fair play to him. You cannot blame the bloke one bit. You're absolutely going to take it. If you've been sacked by all, and a club like us have come in, who, let's be right, we're a bigger club than Hull at the minute, especially in this division where we'll be fighting for title, they're fighting for relegation at minute. That is fair play to Ruben, and you can't blame him one bit. So you've just got to say, Ruben, best of luck, we're behind you, because we can't have another Slav.
Yeah, agreed. So, Jamie, you've we mentioned it earlier, I think, because it were in relation to a comment that you made in the chat, that you were initially a little bit, oh, that's it, League One. We're going sacking Chris Wilder. What on earth are we doing? You've had time to calm a little bit, and you obviously now saying it could go either way, which I think is a lot. Obviously, it's more balanced. But what are your thoughts on Ruben Selles coming in? Initial thoughts, really. Obviously, we can't really go into a lot of detail and sort of things like that. And it will come, I'm sure, down the line in terms of when we've had more chance to learn about him and see him in action and stuff like that. But what are your initial thoughts with the appointment?
Initially, I didn't know too much about him. I knew that obviously it battered us 3-0 when we played there a lot at the Lane. So, but you didn't really get too much. You thought, oh, it could be a decent manager, but he does seem like a very attacking manager. So at least from the looks of things, we will be entertained next season. It's not going to be like Scott Parker, where as good as Scott Parker is, you can fall asleep to his football. Ruben Selles, it does seem like where it's just hell for Ben, go for it. And it could benefit our team quite well, where it's a mentality thing. Players like Sidney Peck, Harrison Burrows just going hell for Ben, and they love getting forward. So I think it could genuinely suit us potentially quite well with the players we've got, but only time will tell. I'm interested to see how he does in pre-season, though. And I'm looking forward to going to them.
You'll be there, won't you?
Yeah, and if anyone is going to be there, I'll be keeping out for me potentially, because I might be doing a couple interviews, just walking around. If you see me,
What a boy!
I'm having technical difficulties at the minute with the mic connecting to my phone, because the phone is absolutely useless when it comes to connecting to external mics currently. But we're work in progress. So we'll figure something out. But yeah, we'll be doing interviews, potentially trying to get players if that's even possible. I'll be at Sheffield FC as well, considering it's about 2-minute drive from my house. But yeah, if anyone's willing, come and say hello.
What a man!
Questions.
What a man! I know you touched on there that his attacking style of play. I'm pretty sure they weren't great in terms of their attacking output with Hull, but I think that was largely due to personnel.
Awful though.
He did solidify him defensively though, like we've had with, like Joe said. I've got a shorter video now from Sam from the Hull City Fan Central channel. We'll play that out and see if you think any differently after hearing this.
Ruben Selles is a very interesting manager. He certainly is one there for the youth. He helps develop the youth. He helps give the youth them opportunities. We saw it this past season, and certainly since he took over with Hull City, where he was able to give young players the opportunities that they weren't getting given before. We saw Matty Jacob getting starting time at left back. We saw various different roles for Harry Vaughan and various other young lads were getting opportunities within the squad and given the chance to really thrive in the first team. Alongside that, he is also known very forwardly thinking for his sort of attacking style of play. But even from that, the attacking style of play, we didn't score too many goals. So how was we able to get quite a few points under Ruben Selles to the point where he was able to keep Hull City to safety? And that was through the defensive positioning. He set up a very, very strong defensive line. We were letting in goals left, right and centre before Ruben Selles came in. And since that he came into us in early December of 2024, well, we had a very, very strong defensive line from that point onwards. We were very rarely letting goals in, and if we were, it was maybe a little bit of a lapse of error or a bit of a mistake on some of the players' parts. But the defensive lineup that he does set up is a very strong one, and we saw that last season with Hull City. For Sheffield United, he would do a very, very good job. He boasts two very, very strong candidates in Hull City and Reading of where he's just been, both of them being tough situations to work in. Of course, we know the situation that's going on at Reading with all of their various behind-the-scenes dealings and all sorts, and how tough it would be for a manager to work under that conditions, maybe not knowing when the next paycheck's going to come in, but also knowing that Hull City, with the reign of Adjanilla Jali and not knowing what could happen next, whether you could be out of a job next week because you're not playing an attacking style of play. Well, he's worked under very intense circumstances, intense situations, and thrived in some aspects, certainly at Reading, and has obviously done a decent job at us last season. So he would definitely do that over for you at Sheffield United. Of course, as I say, helping the youth, helping build that strong defensive line. He's a man that I can see, if he finds the club where he can really settle into, get his project working, he's given the sort of the task to do what he wants to do. Well, he could stay there for a number of years and build a very, very good project from the ground up through the academy right to the first team, get a good flow going. I can see him doing that, and maybe he's given that chance for you over at Sheffield United.
Thoughts on that, gentlemen? Jamie, I'll come to you first. You wouldn't guess that Sam's a thespian, by the way, would you? Thank you. He's an actor on stage.
Wow.
That's why he's very animated, but he's like that on his channel as well, and I find it quite engaging. So thank you to Sam for his his input there. Any thoughts on what he had to say, Jamie?
It does seem like the type of manager would probably be suited to the club, especially with the way we're going to go forward, which is why they probably picked him, to be fair. That probably makes a lot of sense. But we're going, and we have been for the past few years, where you've seen the likes of City Peg, Arblaster, Andre Brooks, all of them coming through the academy. So it could potentially work quite. Sariki, loads have come through. So, I mean, from the sound of things, you may even see potential Jack Robinson not playing as much if it wants solid defence, which touch wood, that'll happen. But on a serious note, it does sound promising. Like, we've only got to give him a chance. At the end of the day, it's down to him to prove what he can do. So I'm looking forward to seeing what someone like him can bring and what his academy staff can bring. And hopefully he's a bit entertaining in press conferences because sometimes they can get a bit of going. And plus, managers like Wilder, they're the reason that some of the teams are so entertaining, because you listen to them and just think,
well,
wow, what entertainment that would be having yours. I mean, Wilder even said in a press conference, yeah, referee having a sandwich, total disrespect.
Yeah.
I love Chris Wilder. But to be fair, if you're not entertained by the manager himself at his press conference, you can always tune into the Blades Ramble, where we have hot off the presser, and we'll give you all the info on what's gone down at that press conference, whether it's entertaining or not. So, yeah, Davey boy, your thoughts on what Sam had to say?
Wait and see. This, yeah.
It's been energy sapping.
I'm a bit flattened by it all, even though you know it's coming, to be honest. But there's so much work to do, and let's get a few friendlies out of the way and see where we're at. I'm sure we'll be fine. I'm sure, as much as it seems to people that they don't know what they're doing, and when it comes to press releases, timing of them, they don't. Maybe, just maybe, they've got a bit of a plan, and let's just wait and see if it works.
I'm with your initial thought process there, Davey boy. But yes, Jamie, anything further you'd like to add? We've got one more caller, and then we're going to fly through some comments. I'm going to let Dave go to bed. So, any final thoughts, JD?
Thank you, Chris, and good luck, Ruben. That's all you got to say.
Good lad. We will see you with mic in hand, coming to a ground near you.
If I've fixed technical difficulties.
Cheers,
yes,
Jamie.
I'm sure you will, mate. I'm sure you will.
Cheers, guys.
That's quality, mate. Keep up the great work, and I'll catch up
I'll
with you
come
soon.
and say hello if I'm about.
Good lad.
Good man.
All right, buddy. See you soon. Cheers, Jake.
Cheers.
Jamie Dumpling there is forging his own reputation on this channel, one way or the other. So our final caller of the evening. That is a message to anybody else who wants to try and jump in late. Unfortunately, we have to close the doors somewhere. He is the babyface man himself, but he's now re-tagged himself as Brett the Positive Blade. How's it going, pal?
Yeah, not so positive.
How are you feeling about everything we've heard tonight? We knew it would come in, mate, and obviously I read it out, and even though I knew it would come in as well, it just feels a little bit, like Dave said, flat. But it's just, I think it's quite sad what's happened tonight. Really, I think it does feel now like the end of an era's been stamped in, doesn't it? Really, and
yeah,
we're now in the
I think, like I say,
era.
When it was muted and stuff that they were going to go, I were gutted because I thought he's still best manager I've seen at Sheffield United since.
Where did you hear that? Where did you first hear that, Brett? By the way.
Blades Ramble. You put your neck on line.
Go on there, Ramble. Go on there, Ramble. Sorry,
got a red
I'm getting
face.
delirious at this time of night.
But like I say, I was chatting with Dave in chat, and very eloquently, he kind of convinced me that it could be a good thing. Like there were things, positives you could take out of it. Even if I don't agree with his Haribo choice, by the way.
Look, I respect your opinion. You're wrong. I respect it anyway.
Giant strobes all day. But yeah, like I say, as soon as you've seen it in black and white, it's a bit harder, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? When it's proper done and dusted.
Yeah, it does.
And then, obviously, half an hour later to see what they've put somebody in. Yeah, it's not good. But it was interesting, I think, in the release that they put for Selles. I think it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Dan as manager. not like head coach or, do you know what I mean? So it's, for the minute, I suppose it's a straight swap. And I can see why they've done it. It puzzles me a little bit, as in, like, I thought they're going for a more proven, tested manager, like, because to be surviving as a club in a league and winning a league is two different things. Like, I think when Pep said it about Bielsa, like, Pep could go to Man City and win a league. You don't think he could go to Stoke and keep them up. It's a different style of stack. And don't get me wrong, I really hope it all goes fantastically. Obviously, I hope we get promoted and it all works out. We play fantastic, free-flowing, attacking football.
Yeah, we all want what's best for United, don't we? But it don't mean it doesn't hurt.
No, and to be fair as well, like, I do agree with the fact that you need to give him time. There's no manager on earth that even Pep can't come into Sheffield United and match one. Do you know what I mean? Playing all out attack and winning 6-0. It's never going to happen. But I just think that's the risk that we're taking. It's because we've got to get it right this season to get promoted. I'd have probably have liked to have got promotion. Like you said, with Wilder, you're pretty much guaranteed playoffs. So
yeah, I would say so.
Maybe automatics. Whereas it's a bit unknown with Sayers. But I'd have rather have got promoted or hopefully tried for promotion this season and then took a free hit in Premier League, where most people are going to expect us to go down anyway. So why not go down building that with the money and your parachute payments again renewed? But again, it's, I don't own them, do I? So do you know what I mean? There's different ways of doing things. I can't say mine's better than the other. It's just that's the way that I'd have thought we'd have gone.
I know. In fact, let's just chuck it. Let me chuck a curveball at you, Brett. And it's not to trip you up because there's not a wrong answer really. But have you got a favourite memory of Chris Wilder's time as manager?
Yeah, it's him bouncing on table, singing "Mind the Gap." The one that he gets slated for. That's what I love him for.
Let's have a
That's
look.
the character, isn't it? That's your favourite thing. Like, that's what I think he indeed is sent to fans. To anybody outside the club, it probably does look as disrespectful. If you're a Sheffield United fan, you just think that'd be me if I were manager.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be honest, I didn't like that myself.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But I tell you what, I did like.
I love that about you though, Dave. That you you stood up straight away and said that. Even at the time, it's not like you're looking back and revising history.
No.
You said that straight away. So go on, mate. I'll let you say.
What I do like, and we've alluded to it earlier, where every 3 weeks I get my hair cut.
Yes.
And I remember watching that and just laughing my head off. And we
pushed Toddy in Fountain.
Another like I need another one. And
can I wear that?
Yeah, and that was absolutely magical.
Yeah, it was.
And to echo Jamie's point about George, and I'll never forget him walking over to the right back position and putting the flowers down, the Stoke game.
Yeah.
And comment of the night for me from Jamie about him Wilder being in charge for that time. I think it helped the fan base a lot.
I do, and that can't be understated. Really, I think it's a really clever point from Jamie, and I suppose we've all articulated it differently, but that makes it stand out really in terms of how important he has been to this football club in so many ways. Right, Brett. So we know who it is, pal. We know it's going to be Ruben who say yes.
Yes.
That's a thumbnail waiting to happen somewhere. What are your thoughts on the new man? And are you optimistic? Putting the Wilder thing to one side, are you optimistic?
Yeah, like I said, any manager we get, I'd have to get back as much backing as he can get because as a Sheffield United manager. I think what's more important is if we're going to have this project like the keep intimating and getting young players and getting value for money and being able to sell on, we need to invest heavily in that and basically players he wants because you're not going to have a squad of just young players. You do need the right kind of people to bring them up. It's like I always used to say about when we had Matt Kilgallen, and he used to play awful, but when he had Chris Morgan at the side of him, it played fantastic because he had somebody there that was like a rock. Do you know what I mean? He could do
It's
what
like
he
a
wanted.
Nell
And it
next
was
story,
safe.
Sousa, weren't it?
Yeah. Like Robinson, but rest of the team.
Yeah, that's right. Turn into a different player. Turn into a different
But
player.
that's it. Like I say, I think more than the manager, I think it's more to do with backing that they'll need. If you're going to have a project, you can't do it on cheap. So if you're going to get the base and the structure right to start with, you've got to invest heavily at start and start it off properly. So it's easier to do it at the beginning than get halfway through a season or next season and then try altering it. Well, he's been getting his bedtime orders.
Night, Aaron. See you, mate.
He's going in the shower.
Oh, you're going to shower? All right, sorry, mate.
It's not his bedtime yet.
All right, yeah, I'm going to say, sorry.
It's mine in a minute.
I'm going to say it's
Yeah,
mine.
me too, mate. Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, thank you, Brett. Thank you for coming on, being our
No
final
worries, mate.
comment. Anything else you want to touch on before we let you go, pal?
Oh no, I'll just go and cry my pillow about Wilder. But look forward to next season.
We will, mate. We will. Don't you
Fine.
worry. Not
Gonna
much
be
of a
fine.
positive blade to finish on, by the way. Brett, the positive blade.
I will say I'll still be there all season, so I'm not going to be one of them that walks out after 60 minutes.
Too right. No, we'll support him, won't we, mate?
I'll bring you
Well.
some Tankfastics for one at games, and you can
Giant strobes,
you
Dave.
can be converted.
You're
My
talking
word.
nonsense.
Yeah, if you're not already interested in joining Platinum Chat, then sometimes they have discussions about Haribo.
Hey.
So
Most popular poll going that.
Yeah, other food stuffs are available.
unbelievable.
Nosh with the nose coming soon.
Nosh with the nose. Right,
I don't
on
like
that
the
note,
sound of
Brett.
that.
On that note, pal, thanks for calling, and we'll catch up with you soon.
See you
Take
later,
care,
mate.
mate.
Cheers, pal. Nice one, Brett. Finishing our calls tonight. So let's get through as many comments as I can, quick style. Apologies if I don't read your comment. I will try my absolute best to get to people. But we've been on 2 hours now, and there's 2,000 people here. Thank you to everyone that's joined us. If you're not already subscribed, please do just jump over to YouTube and give us a sub. We are trying to get to 10k before opening day. Whether that happens or not, it's a bit of a big ask, to be fair. What are we on? 8,463.
Oh, come on,
So-
we can get there.
Yeah, it's a big ask, mate. It's a big
No,
ask
we
from
can get there.
1,500 people.
There's a lot of exciting stuff coming, so it'll be worth it.
That's very true. Thank you, mate. The end of an era and several glorious years. You and our club and us fans over those years. Thanks, Chris. I didn't agree with you on everything, but can't question your loyalty to our club. Up the Blades. Liam says, best manager in my lifetime. Classy statement, and rightly so. Just shame how it has been played out in the media. I have to get behind Selles now. I'm going to have to start doing that, or I'll get told off by Dave the Nose.
Right.
Now, based on his need, he needs to get us up or could be sacked. Alessandro says, proper gut punch, 100% deserved another go this season. Thank you, Chris. Board have cornered themselves now, though. It has to be promotion under Sayers or whoever. Riff says, I was hoping the board might have changed their mind following the backlash, but it wasn't meant to be. Thanks for the memories. Can leave with his head held high this time around. Phil Hall says, great man who will never forget the overlapping centre-backs, mate. Rob says, thanks for the memories, Chris. You connected us fans back to the club on 2 different occasions. Let's stay together, Blades, and get behind the new gaffer. John Asquith, the best coach around, says, shocking decision. Squad rebuild, Steel City double, 92 points, playoff final, sacked. Wow. Let's go and get someone better. Oh, wait, we're hiring Ruben Selles. Stats from last year. Played 28, won 9, drawn 9, lost 12, goal difference 1. Come on. Thanks again, Chrissy. I promise he's more level-headed when it comes to business.
Not convinced, is he?
You know, I promise he is just as passionate, but a lot more level-headed when it comes to business. He is the best around. It's just, he loves Chris Wilder. Personally, I never liked Wilder, but can't argue with what he's done for us. Time to look forward now, says Mark. Julie says, worst decision ever. If by Christmas we're below the Grunters, I'll be in the car park with the shoes off. Bryce says, only person that will have the same effect, Jimmy, is Billy Sharp when he takes over. See, with that, Bryce, I'm not going to focus too much on the comments themselves now because we will never, ever get through them all. And I will have to sort of start skipping over quite a few. So apologies in advance. There's no guarantee that Billy Sharp will A, become a manager, B, become a manager of Sheffield United, or C, and I love Billy, but there is very little chance he will be as successful at Sheffield United. There's no chance, let's be honest, as Chris Wilder was. So he could, hopefully he's in a similar conversation if he chooses to become a manager one day, and if he chooses to, or if he gets the opportunity to manage Sheffield United, hopefully he has a really strong stint and he is really well admired, as well admired as he has been as a player. One of our best strikers ever, ball boy, captain, and hopefully certainly member of the coaching team one day, whatever he wants to do. There will never be another Chris Wilder. Never. And I know that you're not saying that, Bright, in so many words. You're not saying it'll be, but in terms of that, Chris Wilder, we spoiled with Chris Wilder because A, he's a blade, and B, he's our most successful manager of the modern era. So to have those two things combined, we will never, I'm confident in saying we will never get that back. We may have a blade in charge again, and we may have another even more successful manager. And let's hope that's Ruben Selles. But we'll never get both again, in my opinion.
Never say never.
I'm saying it, mate. I'm saying it. Listen, you can pull this receipt in 30 years' time when Billy Sharp's just won the Champions League with Sheffield United, if you want to, and then you'll be right. And I'll hold my hands up and say I'm glad you were right. I think for the new owners, Wilder was purchasing the club from the Prince. Was purchasing the club from the Prince. The final link to that period in our club's history. They probably felt that overall Chris was overindulged too much by the Prince. Let's have a look. Lee says, well, at least we don't need to waste money on tickets Saturday now, so that's a bonus. Enjoy mid-table mediocrity. Ed says, sad day to be a blade, Jimmy. Huge gamble for these new owners. Really thought the safe bet would be to stick with Wilder. Only time will tell if it's the right decision. Got to back whoever comes in. Luke says, still be there next season, and it's now time to move on with the times because we can't keep challenging for promotion and do nothing to adjust to stay in the league. Thank you so much, Chris. Right, we're 2 hours in. I am nearly 2 hours behind on the comments. What I'm going to say is I'm going to go till 10 past 2. 10 more minutes. Top 10 past 2.
I'm not going till 10 past 2.
No. I'm going to go till that. Dave, you can see the timer in the corner, can't you?
Yes, mate.
Right. So when that it's 2 hours, 10 minutes, it's a hard out. We're stopping. So I will. I need to have a stop, otherwise we're not going to 10 past. We could if I read every comment.
Probably could, yeah.
Blade's legend, but my honest opinion is that he's taken us as far as he could. We thank him for some amazing times, but now we have to move forward as a club. We're all blades. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Lee says, not shocked due to the wait for the announcement since you broke the story last week. The lack of comment from the club just whispers in the press as a continuation of poor comms continues. I personally like to thank Wilder for everything he's done for our club and us fans, says Lee. This was not what 95% of Blades wanted, as we felt he was the man to get us back up, the best manager we've ever had. Cooler King says it's very sad when a fan's favourite leaves the club. Wilder's not been sacked because the owners think last season was a disaster or they think Wilder is incompetent. It's all about a new approach. Kev says, hi, Jimmy, sad day. One of the best managers we've ever had. Fingers crossed they've made the right decision. Chris says, I can't understand the logic of bringing Selles in. He has no form whatsoever in the Championship. Slav had a promotion from the champ on his CV. I'm afraid I see Selles lasting until Christmas. Carlos does a solid saying, smash the light for Jim. People for Jim, bro. Thank you. Sacking Wilder for Adkins 2.0, says Pilot. Peake says, been a blade since 5 years old and now 61. Wilder's the best manager, in my opinion. Bassett and Warnock were close rivals for me, but Wilder pips them. Gutted new owners haven't taken into account George Baldock, which had an impact. Demon Briggs says we should stand for Wilder. Nobody attend the first home game of next season. I won't be doing that, mate. I'm a Sheffield United fan. He wouldn't encourage that either, to be honest. There's a message from Wilder. Jimmy says, Matt, thank you, mate. End of an era, so thank you. Thank you. 1 in a million, Chris Wilder says, Ray, will never be forgotten. Up the blades, up the ramble, up all the rambles, like and subscribe. Not a backward step, says right. S right. More of a leap. Can see this putting us back to meh land. Mr. Vancouver says, hi, Jimmy. I would be lying if I said I wasn't gutted. I'll miss his passion and dedication to the club. Not to mention that Yorkshire grit and sense of humour. I'll miss those press conferences. Up the blades. Yes, me too, pal. Rich Littlewood says, good evening, Jimmy. I didn't know he'd gone until you've just mentioned it. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Phil says, I think it's time for the owners to come out and explain why they made this decision and what is going to happen in the future, as we fans deserve this. Well, they've done that in form of a written statement, haven't they? Since you commented as well, to be fair, pal. Brand says, evening, Jimmy. Really don't agree with this. Don't like the Sayers appointment either. 1.2 points per game at Hull and 0.7 points per game at Southampton. What were his record at Reading, though, Brown? A record like that is replacing Wilder. if you did it in isolation on a side that didn't have any right really to be as high in the league as they were, as Reading were, but he was up there challenging for the playoffs with a weak squad. I think you've got to include the full context for that, Bran. You can't just pull out the weaker.
Just to add to that, to take over a club that's bottom of the league and achieve 1.2 points per game.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Going.
It's not bad. I think he's automatically going to be judged, isn't he?
Yeah. But a bit of context is important with stats.
Yeah, agreed. He's a Blade says at least this time he leaves on a relative high. Let's have a look, see where we are. Dad says, I'm good with it now. I've had time to get used to the idea. He's turned us around from a mockery to a solid promotion chasing outfit. Time to see what the new owners and the new manager can do. James says, absolutely, I do 100%. This is an absolute nightmare for the club. And now I think it will take some time before we see Premier League football again. Chris says, Wilder for Sayers is madness. Massive mistake, says James. Hyder says, I want to be positive, but can't see how Sayers does anything but bring us down the table. Jack says, honestly gutted. Jamie P says, sorry to see Jim, see him go. Best manager by far. Todd says, absolute own goal by the new owners. First big decision they've made, and they've made a mess of it. Adam says, if it doesn't work out with Sayers, we might end up having 3 managers next season. Sheila says, do you know if the owners are in the country, or was this a decision made known to Chris through Steve Bettis? Still no confirmation of a new manager. I know that several members of the board have been in the country. They've been in London to obviously go through this whole process. I don't know whether Steve Rosen or Helmi Atuki were physically present, to be honest. Fairfield says, sad to see him go. Absolute legend. Sad day for us all, but new legends write themselves into every club's history all the time. We'll be okay, Blades. Love to see W. What a guy. Bryce says, do they actually know how the fans feel, and do they care? Dave says, not a big fan of Wilder 2.0, but the new owners worry me, can't lie. Sayers is a huge gamble. I feel a bit queasy. Riff says, Prince stuck by his managers, didn't have the funds to be ambitious. These owners have the funds and ambition to succeed. We should support the club first. To wish for us to be relegated is ridiculous. I haven't seen any of that, but obviously I'm skipping some comments. So Scottish Blade says the decision will either be a masterstroke by the owners or set the club back 10 years. The jury is out. We all just have to hope it's the right move. Yeah, we do. What will we becoming? Sacking a manager like this, says James. Zach says, do you know if Jack Lester has left as well? It didn't say anything about Jack departing the club, so I assume not at this stage. Tom, not from, says, all we can hope for now is that our next manager leaves with the same amount of love and loss we are feeling now. Well said, mate. It will be Sheffield United Soccer Club next. Gutted Wilder's gone and don't trust the new owners now. We've had a brilliant season and a very sad season with George's loss, and they've done this to us. I think that's harsh, Peak. I think that's harsh. The current players will be gutted. Expected exodus. Low crowd, says Tim. He's going to struggle to reach mid-table. Dave, what's your thoughts on this side? Steve-O says as well, watch the exodus of players now. I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
No, I don't agree. I was going to save this for the end, but
this can be the end, mate. I think we've done plenty, and I apologise to everybody's comments we haven't got through. We always try and get through comments, but there was so much to actually break down today that we wanted to say. So, Dave, the floor is yours.
Let's say the last bit for the main man here, but Liverpool fans would have been worried when Klopp was leaving and thinking, you know, that they're going to go downhill and it's going to fall apart. And it took them ages to pick a manager. Slot comes in and wins the league in the first attempt. So just because it's changing, and I know change for most people is an intimidating and nerve-wracking time, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be worse than it already is. So keep some positivity. I'm quite happy to have, if it goes badly in the first 5 or 10 games of the season and we're struggling, I'm quite happy for people to come up and say, told you so. Don't mind that.
Yeah.
But let's not, within, an hour, 2 hours of the guy being appointed into the job, write him off and say that, we're doomed and he's going to take us down and all this. Let's see what happens. Let's give it some time and get behind him. We can't be having this people leaving. And if players want to leave, fine, they're not the right characters. But I believe that we've got the right characters in the team, and they will want to get behind the club. And a lot of them were there, were signed by Eke and stayed
Absolutely
on.
right.
So, yeah.
And if they do want to leave, they will be using this as an excuse to leave rather than genuinely wanting to stay at Sheffield United anyway. Because, like Dave says, a lot of them weren't originally signed by Chris Wilder, and they've no idea what Ruben Selles is going to be like as a manager. So it's as much a fresh start for them as it is anybody else. And they've already got their relationships pre-built. You might be thinking, if you City Peck, for example, you might be thinking, well, Alfie Gilchrist's not going to come back to the club this season because he never played. Well, actually, there might be half a chance that he comes. That's just one example. So there's so many different directions this could go. There's no point dwelling on the negative. I think it's a great point about Jurgen Klopp. He was an absolute revered figure at Liverpool, a legend of the club because of the way that he challenged Man City and obviously won the title with them. You can only think it can't get any better than this. And then Arne Slot comes in and wins the title convincingly as well. So there are examples where clubs continue to build a legacy of the club in absence of real strong figureheads. I think it's a very sad day for Sheffield United because it's the end of an era. It doesn't mean it's the wrong decision. And when I say that again with full retort of it doesn't mean I agree with the decision just because it might be the right way, it might be the wrong way, and only time will tell what the decision, which way this is going to go. I want to say thank you to Dave for joining me on stream tonight. We were supposed to be doing a completely different stream, and I've bumped us, and we've had to talk about this. What I will say is there's clearly a huge appetite to talk about this and get things off your chest. I really do apologise to those that I haven't. We're a channel that loves to try and get everybody's comments in while we can. There's no way I can get through them. There's 2,000 people here. We've been going 2 hours, 10 minutes. Before this, I was on a stream for 2 hours with George Motson on Behind the Ramble. I can't keep going all night because I just can't. I'll run out of gas. But we may well, if there is still an appetite to talk about it, we may well jump on tomorrow morning and do a bit of a morning after sort of chat again, where those that are around. I appreciate people have work and school and things, but if it might be a consideration, we'll see. Wait and see how the mood is in the morning. Dave, do you want to have any final? I'm going to say a few words and then you can finish it off because I think you're very articulate with the way that you say things and very thoughtful. I just sometimes shoot from the hip a little bit more, and I just want to say thank you to Chris Wilder. Really, I want to thank Chris Wilder for his time that he's given to our club and the brilliant memories he has given so many fans. I've spoken about it before, and this will hopefully be the last time I mention it on stream because I never want it to be a bit of a downer. But I was in a really low place, really low, and I lost my mum when Chris Wilder were in charge of the club. Was he? No, he might not have been, to be fair. But he got me through a time when she was ill, certainly, and he brought a love back for my football club and a focus in my life when I needed a focus. And if it wasn't for Chris Wilder, there would not be a Blades Ramble. That is 100% fact, and that has changed my life. So it sounds a little bit far-fetched to say, that what an impact he has had on my life, but I know. He might not know. He might not have a clue, but I can tell you how important it has been for me to have this man lead us, and the way that he has shaped our football club, and the way he has lit that fire in so many of us for our club again after some terrible, terrible years. So I will always cherish the memories that Chris Wilder has given us as a football club, and me as a football fan. He continued to bring our families closer together. We're always a close family. I know that a lot of people have been in the same boat, but I have so many great memories with my family thanks to Chris Wilder. The teams and the camaraderie and the culture that he built around the football club. I cannot express my gratitude to him. And He's the man. He's always been the bucket list guest for the Ramble, and we will continue on that plight. We will get him on one day. He has promised me he'll come on. Whether he remembers, I have no idea. Shifting gears a little bit, because Dave will want to probably have a say as well. I'm 100% behind this new manager. It doesn't mean it would have been my decision, but I am a Blade, and we back our managers, and we will always on this channel try to be positive. I'll always be honest with you, but I'll always try and be positive too. And if that's not your bag, then that's not your bag. I welcome an alternative opinion, but he's our boss now, and we will back him. And if there's wobbles along the way, then we will talk each other through it, and we'll try and get through it together. So that's my bit. I'm going to leave it there for now, because I'll be on an awful lot over the next few days, as we all know. And Dave's obviously going to become an even bigger part of the channel, so you'll see a lot more of him. But Dave, I'm keen to hear what your thoughts are, pal.
No pressure in following that as a sentiment. I mean, when Chris took over, I was in a period of my life where I was only for a number of different reasons starting to be in a position and be able to get down to the lane as regularly as I wanted to. And having Aaron was born towards the end of Nigel Clough's reign. And the first photo I've got him in a United kit was from the horrific season under Atkins. I confidently say that there's not a chance that Aaron would have been bitten by the Blades bug in the way that he has without what Chris Wilder's done for the club. And that's taken he and I on quite a journey and definitely helped us to have the relationship that we do. I never thought I'd get to see us lift a trophy, and all right, it was League One, but it had been so bad. He's taken us to Wembley. He's just transformed a club that was in a real mess, and given it back to us and give us hope, and will be wherever the club goes. And I'm a positive person, and I always like to think that with change comes opportunity, and I confidently believe that in time the club will get even stronger, and we will get to the position that we all want to get to. But he'll always be remembered for being a major part of getting us that way, even in 10, 15, 20 years' time. To all those that are concerned about how the new owners are managing things, we all said that the Prince was struggling financially to take us to the position that we want to get to. None of us really, we enjoy the championship seasons. We don't like the Premier League seasons because we get hammered, and we put up with all, we travel around and we put up with the hammerings, and it's an awful time. And for us, it's hard to pick ourselves back up when season ticket renewal comes up, or if you're able to go as often as that and pay the money to go and watch the team. So now we've got owners who seem to have that backing, and that's not enough. In a modern football world, we've got to change. We've got to adapt to become a team that I think will eventually thrive in the Premier League. We'll have players. We all miss Illiman, but we could have players like Illiman, 2 or 3 of them, and they're staying with us because we're a team that are established in the Premier League. We're not having them for 1 or 2 years and then they fly off to somewhere else because their ambitions are bigger than what we can give them. To go through that change, the change in the club that has to happen is massive, because if we keep on the same path, we'll just keep ending up with the same result. So we're going to have to put up with some bumps in the road, but we have to get behind the players, the manager, whoever that is going forward. And we've got to make sure that, like we have done for years now, we're singing. We don't the best games we're singing, not the worst ones. You know, create those atmospheres, create those memories. It's there for us. Be positive. Don't be negative, and let's look back fondly tonight on Chris and what he did. And then let's look forward and go, this is a new chapter, and we're not even starting to write the first page of it yet. We don't know where it's going to go.
What a legend. That's why you do what you do, mate. Nice one. Really well said. Really well said.
That might be the longest I've ever spoke for without...
So it's because it's real, mate. It's real, innit? So, right. Thank you to everybody. What a huge night in the history of Sheffield United. We have replaced Chris Wilder, our manager, who has done so much for the football club. There's been a statement released to thank him. There's been a statement from the board also explaining why, really, and what was behind their decision and how tough it was. We've then seen a statement announcing a new manager, Ruben Selles. Maybe a press conference might have been more appropriate, but that's, again, it's objective. Subjective, sorry. Whatever happens now, we're Blades, aren't we? We're all Blades, aren't we? And we will support the club. We will be there. It might take a little bit of time to get our heads round. As I say, we might come on tomorrow, and after the dust has settled a little bit, and see how people are feeling. Because I might reflect on it. Some people are already saying in our chat that, you know, I can appreciate why it's been done so quickly. Bang, 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 bang. Because it shows, you know, a sort of streamlined approach in terms of straight to the point. This is what we're doing. No messing about now. Rule out the sentiment. Like we talk about all the time on the field, Dave. There can't be any sentiment involved in players. There was a huge turnover of players last season. Brilliant players for our football club. George Baldock, God rest his soul. John Egan, Ollie Norwood, Ollie McBurney. Players of this ilk who were like icons of an era, particularly Egan and that defence, and you know, George, and there were Ender involved earlier on, and John Fleck. That sort of period, those players all moved on because there can't be sentiment at a club. And the manager is no different. He's the biggest one, obviously, the biggest hit that we'll take in that regard. But the club are choosing to make a change, and we'll back the club, and we'll be all right. We will be all right. It's just going to take some getting used to. So thank you to everybody that's joined us tonight. We've had almost 2,000 people in consistently throughout the stream, which is incredible. If you're not already, please do. And you've enjoyed the content, obviously, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to grow. The views that we are getting is absolutely incredible at the moment. So if that could be reflected in a subscription, then it lets people know that they're enjoying what we do. So it's completely free. But thank you again. And apologies I couldn't get to everyone's comments, but hopefully we can reconvene maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe if I sing a bit more, Dave, that'll get... Okay, we'll have to think about that. So we'll call it there. And for now, as always... Come on, you red and white wizards.
Up the Blades.